1,330 seats in a single day. This would surpass it by some distance based on the forecasts that are coming up for this Thursday.
So what's the marker? What's the marker for it where it does become unprecedented and historic?
Once you get over that 1,330, in terms of aggregate numbers, and at the moment, the most optimistic forecast for saying they'd only lose about 1,400 seats. So even the best forecasts are saying this could be record-breaking territory, and of course it reflects that huge fragmentation, because Labour's vote will, assuming that the forecasts are as bad as are made out to be, that it's going in different directions, whether it be to Reform, whether it be to the Greens, whether it be to other parties. So it is huge. I mean, it's the sheer size. I mean, if you look at the number of councils that are, 136 councils are having elections. There's more than 5,000 seats up for grabs. It's a biggie of a contest anyway. And Labour is defending almost half of those councils. We've talked in sort of big numbers about the seats so far. What people have not actually said, well, what would be the outcome in terms of Labour's continuing control of councils? The second largest figure in terms of control of councils is no overall control. I'd expect no overall control to be the most common type of council come Friday, which is a sort of undramatic thing, really. Well, who cares? Well, the party's under no overall control, but that again reflects the fragmentation that we've got in British party politics.
But then when we're looking at the map and it's all covered in grey, then that's what that's telling us. We need to know who's hanging on there in some way. And obviously, different issues are playing out differently in different parts of the country. When I went around the polls in 80 hours last month, when we stopped off in Birmingham, I asked voters on my focus group there what were the most important issues to them.
Equality.
Not equality, equity. Equality is we treat everyone the same. Equity is the idea that we help those who need help.
Standing up against the far-right ideologies.
We need a change.
It's going to be the bin strikes and how the independents can really represent real issues of the real people.
Well, I'd say it's the party that endeavours to enable people to live their lives to the full.
And John, that just really speaks to some people there really focusing on the local, others focus on the very, very national, and everything in between.
Yeah, totally. It is really a combination of national and local issues, but it tends to be national issues. You heard that sort of sentiment, I just want to change. But bin strikes were mentioned. I mean, there is a sort of idea that local councils these days are only responsible for bins and burials, but they are responsible for a lot more than that. And they should, again, to echo Michael Crick earlier, really, these contests should be about the performance of your local council. But how many people are actually aware of the performance of their local council? And one other point to make is, yes, we're all very excited, people like you and me, for Thursday, but only 35% of people will probably vote on Thursday. 65. I'm not saying that people who vote in local elections are in the weirdo category, but almost 2/3 of people.
It's a minority pursuit.
At local elections. Yeah.
Very good, John. We'll come back and get your small thought in a moment. Let's go now to Scotland. Alsa is there.
Hello.
What is your big thought?
Yeah, it's a thought about tactical voting, really. And I mean, tactical voting has become more important with each election since '99. And we reached the point in 2021 where 20% of ballots cast were actually tactical ballots designed to stop another party from winning in the constituency. And one of the things we know about tactical voting in Scotland is that it is within constitutional blocks, and particularly on the pro-union side, you have people shuffling from one party to the other, swinging their vote behind the party that they think is best likely to defeat the SNP. And what we see coming for the 2026 election is that we expect tactical voting to be high. We also expect there to be a substantial amount of anti-SNP tactical voting, but we're also picking up a considerable amount of anti-reform tactical voting as well. And I think that tactical voting thing is important because it's not just about how people make decisions when they cast their ballot, but it also changes the nature of electoral competition at a constituency level, because we've moved to a situation where we don't have kind of 3-party contests or 4-party contests within the constituencies anymore. We're seeing an increase of these extreme 2-party contests, where the third-placed party is actually on less than 10% of the vote. So they're really squeezing all the other pro-union parties down into the mid-single digits so as to throw their support behind another pro-union party. But the arrival of reform, I think, can really shake this up. So tactical voting is interesting in and of itself. But in this election, I think the arrival of reform is really going to expose the way that people use the electoral system. Because on the one hand, we know that reform voters are less likely to engage in that tactical voting and are more likely to cast an expressive ballot for reform, even if the reform candidate has no chance of winning in the constituency. And the other thing we know is that the arrival of reform is breaking the constitutional bloc nature of tactical voting. We know from Norstat polling that Labour voters, 2/3 of them, 3/4 of Lib Dem voters, would rather cast a ballot for the SNP than they would for reform. And that is remarkable given what we know about the way that constitutional preferences normally drive people's voting in Scotland.
And so let's take a listen to when I was in Edinburgh and asked our panel of voters, our focus group of voters, what was driving them to vote? What was the most important issues to them?
My main concern right now is immigration. It's far too high. I've my whole life ever seen it the way it is now in Greenock.
I believe that we should be bringing in talent to our country, and we want to be a nation known for technology. There's lots of businesses in Scotland that are building upon that.
The needs of Scotland are different to the needs of the UK. The only way that we can cater for those needs, in my opinion, is to have an independent Scotland that has control of its own immigration service.
Let's get Scotland working, get them off benefits and into jobs, and encourage them to get out their bed in the morning or evening, 24 hours are available, and get them doing a job.
Increasing the minimum wage to quite an extent where people then don't have to rely on benefits.
I have seen our NHS and our education systems fall far behind the rest of the UK, and we've been let down for 20 years by this government, and I think it's important that we see investment in these vital services.
My slight sense, actually, when we were in Scotland, was there was more focus on it being a Scottish election. The situation in Westminster cropped up less. Is that just because there are more powers in Holyrood, do you think?
I don't think that's changed in a sense that we haven't seen a significant difference since the the post-referendum expansion of constitutional powers of legislative competence for the Scottish Parliament. It has always been the case that people are able to distinguish between the powers of the Scottish Parliament and the UK Parliament. Knowledge is not perfect, obviously, but we know that when people cast a ballot, they are casting it based on Scottish issues rather than what's going on in Westminster, and that proportion has just gone up every single election since 1999. Voters are quite good at distinguishing between who you're holding to account at each election. It's actually the parties that often bleed those lines and campaign in Westminster trying to attack the SNP for its record in Holyrood, or if you're the SNP, defend your record in Holyrood when you're campaigning for Westminster. And we see it bleeding into the Holyrood election as well.
Very good. Right, we'll come back for your small thought in a moment. Let's go to James in Wales now. James Griffiths, what is your big thought about Wales?
So the big thought is that there's a real possibility of a Labour loss in Wales. If you were looking at the Britain-wide polling, that might not seem a surprise, but Labour have won every election in Wales for 100 years. One of the most successful parties in the democratic world. So the possibility that Labour might actually lose an election in Wales is genuinely historic. But to understand this, it's important to say that this election isn't a referendum on Starmer. People in Wales, for the whole, seem to be prioritising Welsh issues like the NHS, alongside other issues that like the cost of living, where the Welsh Government's ability to influence things is a little bit less certain. But people are unhappy with Welsh Labour's record in Cardiff. Now, previously, they've been able to use things like the pandemic or the really unpopular Conservative government to deflect criticism from their record, but they don't have those things there that can deflect this blame, especially now that Labour are in Westminster, and this means that they're losing a lot of support to the left, to Plaid Cymru and the Greens as viable left-wing alternatives.
Let's take a listen to what the voters told me when I was in Cardiff and asked how what they said were the most important issues to them.
We need to bring this election about Wales and about the people in Wales and stop looking at what's happening in Westminster, because this is our election, this is our government.
In my mind, you've got to look at what's most important to you, and for me that's the NHS and the cost of living crisis.
I don't do politics, I do nature. We've got the most polluted rivers in the whole of the UK.
We've got agriculture and tourism, and those industries aren't doing very well. They need to be boosted.
I think the biggest thing for me is looking at how the NHS, like I said, is important, but throwing money at it isn't the solution.
I suppose I could say party unity. I think the Prime Minister really needs to get his act together now.
So that was their message there, James. And actually quite a lot of the conversation we had was seen through the prism of Labour have been in power here for a long time, and that word change just came up an awful lot.
It's incredibly difficult for Welsh Labour to make a case for themselves as a agent of change, as they've sometimes tried to do throughout this campaign. But parties almost always lose support when they're in power for a long period of time. Welsh Labour have been completely atypical in that regard, but slowly over time frustrations have built up, and they've seem to have lost this reputation as a party that can stand up for Wales, something that's always been a huge electoral boon for them in Wales. And that, combined with the criticism of their performance in office on things like the NHS, this has meant that people are looking for alternatives.
At one point last week, it looked like even Eluned Morgan, the Welsh First Minister, was looking for an alternative, accidentally telling Labour members to vote Plaid Cymru. So she's the Labour leader. So she said it in Welsh, but she told people to vote Plaid and then had to correct herself. So, yeah, I think it's all getting a bit tired. Everyone's a bit tired during these elections. So there's the big thoughts. Everyone's now got clear in their head sort of what is happening, what you should be keeping an eye on. A small thing. Is there a little place that you're keeping an eye on, or another thing that you will be looking for on Friday? Let's start with you first, John.
Well, given the horrendous forecast for Labour, I thought I'd look at where Labour could have some good news, and I've alighted upon the district council where Labour is strongest, and it's your namesake council, Chorley. And here's some good news for Keir Starmer.
Yeah,
because there are 42 seats on Chorley Council. Labour already hold 87%. They've got 37 of the seats. And the other good news for Keir Starmer is there are only 1/3 of the seats are up for grabs. So Labour could lose all 14 seats on Chorley Council and still hold on to power on Chorley Council. They would still have 23. They'd still just about have an overall majority of those 42 seats. Now, I don't expect Keir Starmer to make a triumphant tour on Friday morning to Chorley, or whenever Chorley is declaring, saying we've held on. But just to make the point that some of these councils are still very, very safe Labour. Some of the metropolitan councils are even safer Labour. Chorley's a district council. So at least the consoling news for Labour is that in most cases, only 1/3 of the seats are up for grabs. We should remember this in terms of councils changing control. There are 25 councils where every single seat is up for grabs, and they will be some of the most volatile results that you'll see come Friday. But it's worth hanging on to that thought that only 1/3 of the councils are up for grabs.
I mean, if you're saying that we need to talk about Chorley more, I'm fully on board with that. That's a good one to keep an eye out for on Friday. Elsa, what should we look at? What's the small thing that you're going to be keeping an eye on in Scotland?
Turnout is the small thing I'm looking at. Last election, 2021, we had the highest turnout ever in a devolved election, 63.5%. When we want to understand what turnout might look like, we ask a 0 to 10 likely to vote question. And if we look at the percentage of people telling us they are 10 out of 10 likely to vote, Those figures are down 10 points if you look at YouGov polls. They're down 5 points if you look at Ipsos polls. And since we know that the proportion of people telling us they are 10 out of 10 likely to vote is actually higher than the number that actually do go out and cast a ballot, that looks like we'll be looking at turnout that is in the low to mid 50s. Now, in a way, that's normal because that's where turnout normally is for Scottish elections. But given other signs we're seeing in the polls, it could well be that we're in the territory of the 2003 election, where we had the lowest ever turnout, just under 50%, 49.4. So it could well be that we're in the record books, but not necessarily for a good reason.
Very good. Finally, then, a small thing to keep an eye on from James Griffiths in Wales.
So turnout's also going to be important in the Welsh system, especially as we've got a new electoral system. So wondering how people navigate that and how that affects their tactical voting is going to be really important. But I think one thing, a really small thing to look at, which feels wild to say this, but is the performance of the Conservatives. In 2021, they had their best performance in a Senedd election ever. And now, depending on which polls you're looking at, it looks like they are on for an incredibly difficult night in Wales, and which is remarkable given where they were only 5 years ago.
Now, just on the turnout thing, James, in Wales, from memory, when there was the by-election, the Senedd by-election, was it earlier this year or last year? Turnout there was quite high, wasn't it? That actually, when the outcome is unpredictable, and people think that their vote might make a difference, they will. Then that tends to drive up turnout.
Turnout was surprisingly high in Caerphilly. Yeah, and a big part of that is that, one, as you rightly say, is that people think that their vote matters, but also that they have something to mobilise them against. They have a party that they want to stop, and as a result, they really have something that drives them to the polls. And for a lot of voters in Wales, that is the desire to stop reform. However, the new electoral system means that a lot of people are confused about where their vote should go if they wanted to stop reform. Or if they want to stop Plaid Cymru. But this new electoral system and the kind of lack of knowledge around it and what it means to vote in this system means that we don't precisely know how that's going to influence whether people turn out, and if they do turn out, where their vote goes.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I was speaking to a minister in Westminster last week who said that they were expecting legal challenges over the crucial 6th seat, because that could come down to just a very few votes, couldn't it?
Yeah, that could come down to an incredibly small number of votes, and it could require extensive recounts. And that means that, we might know the broad brush of who has won the election, because the Welsh counting is being done on the Friday. So we might know generally who's won seats, but a lot of these important 6th seats we might not know for quite a long time because of how difficult and how narrow
it might be. Yeah. Well, we'll have plenty to talk about when we get to Friday. Really appreciate that. It was Dr. James Griffiths, Research Fellow for the British Election Study, who previously worked on the Welsh Election Study. Professor Jonathan Tong, Head of Politics Studies at the University of Liverpool, and Professor Elsa Henderson, Senior Lecturer in the Department of Politics and International Relations at the University of Edinburgh. And if you're unsure, hopefully you didn't know by now, but you can find out if there are elections taking place where you live by checking the BBC website, where you'll also find a full list of candidates. And I'll have a special extended programme kicking off 1 o'clock on Friday, going through till 4 o'clock. There'll be coverage all day, of course, here on 5 Live. And then an extended programme on Newsnight as well. Davey's been in touch saying around 70% of the electorate won't even bother to vote at the English elections, just so excited about. They're not interested, Matt. You and your fellow journalists are wetting yourself with something you don't really care about. Who manages our local services? David, all I would do is gently suggest that maybe the fault there lies with people not taking an interest in their democracy, which is what we're trying to do. That is what you call public service broadcasting. Elections do matter, and that is why we are covering them. Mike's been in touch saying, I've salvaged the afternoon by catching up your show, making a raspberry and rhubarb crumble cake. Thank you for that. And he sent me a picture as well. It looks absolutely delicious. Well, thank you for listening today. We'll be back tomorrow as usual, back 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to hand over to Gordon in just a moment, but first we need to finish up trying to find a 5 Live list with the best connection to Neath and Swansea East to become a member of Matt's Parliament. It contains Gleneath, which means we can play this. Bit of Matt's voice performing hymns and arias, and he was born in Gleneath in 1943. We've got Matt, we've got Dennis, and we've got Martin. Matt, what's your claim, please?
My grandfather was, great-grandfather was, I believe, Mayor of Swansea.
Can you, his name? Do you know when this was?
In the late 1890s.
Oh, wow.
William Pike.
Very good.
I believe. But yeah, my grand's no longer around to ask, and my mum isn't answering the phone, so I can't double check.
Have you ever been there, Matt?
I have been to Swansea twice for football.
Successful trips?
A 0-0 and a heavy defeat, so no, not exactly successful.
Well, we like the claim. We like the claim. Thank you for that, Matt. I can't quite say Neath in the family, but close. Dennis, what's your claim, please?
Hi, Matt. Yeah, 1996, Boxing Day, I went to Gleneath to run a 5-mile race. They started the race. It's an out and back, and then a 1-mile loop at the end. The marshal, I was in the leading group. The marshal sent us around the 1-mile loop first, which we shouldn't have done. We got all the way around the 1 mile to find everybody going back to the start. So we had to restart the race. We'd already done a fifth of it.
Blimey, O'Reilly's. That sounds exhausting. I'm exhausted just listening to you, Dennis. But thank you for that. We like that. We've got Martin. Martin, what's your claim, please?
Hi, Matt. Well, my ex-father-in-law was in a covered market in Swansea when he saw Bonnie Tyler walking past. All he had in his hand was a bag full of apples, a paper bag. So he ran after her and got her to sign the rather crumpled bag. And he told me this very proudly. And I didn't have the heart to tell him that I'd once organised a charity concert, and I wandered into the rehearsals in the afternoon, and Bonnie Tyler was singing Total Eclipse of the Heart at that very moment, and I heard her sing the whole song, and I was the only one in the audience.
Yeah, that does trump a paper bag, it has to be said, Martin. We've got one more Bonnie Tyler claim from Elizabeth. Are you there, Elizabeth?
I'm here, Matt. How are you?
What is your claim?
OK, Bonnie Tyler now lives in Mumbles, lives down the road from me here, and she eats scampi and chips in the West Cross Inn.
Very nice.
And she's a regular. She's a regular in the West Cross Inn, yes.
And when you do the pub, does she turn around?
She does. Yes, she turns around.
Well done, Elizabeth, for laughing at my joke.
Go on. I also happen to have a bottle of Catherine Jenkins's Signet Gin in my cupboard here in Langland.
And so I thought you were going to say, like, spit or something, which has been even weirder. Oh, these have all been really good. I was really taken earlier with Malcolm's claim about almost showing a taxi with Peter Hain. I'm going to say, Martin, there's something about the paper bag, and then you got to see Bonnie Tyler singing, which I think probably trumps watching her eat scampi. So, Martin...
You are now a member of Matt's Parliament.
We will send you a certificate of Rosette. Thank you for your company this afternoon. If you've only just tuned in, you wonder what's going on, you can listen back on BBC Sounds. But don't go anywhere, because coming up next, Gordon will be here with all the build-up to Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. I'll see you tomorrow from 2. But news next with Dan Wolseley.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you so much, Matt. The US military says its warships have helped 2 US-flagged vessels transit the Strait of Hormuz, breaking an Iranian blockade. It's denied Iranian reports that one warship had been forced to turn back after warning shots were fired. Sir Keir Starmer has announced plans for the UK to join a £78 billion loan scheme for Ukraine, organised by the European Union. Downing Street hopes that taking part will help British companies secure defence contracts. A man's been remanded in custody after being charged in connection with an alleged bomb hoax which led to thousands of people being evacuated from a Peter Kay gig in Birmingham. Omar Majed, who's 19, is accused of communicating false information to police. And authorities in Cape Verde have refused to allow a cruise ship with a suspected deadly hantavirus outbreak to dock. The ship had been seeking permission to evacuate 2 people who've fallen ill. 3 people on board have died, and a British man is in intensive care after being airlifted to South Africa.
5 5 Live Sports.
So here's the first ball of this series.
All the cricket you love.
Out.
Lives on BBC Sounds.
Smash straight back down the ground, this girl.
Hear ball-by-ball coverage of the biggest competitions on the domestic and international circuits. It's a fourth wicket and it's the huge one.
Settle down, Toffee. Sorry, mate.
Cricket on 5 Live Sport.
Oh, I'm living every ball of this.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sports
with Gordon Smart.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Thank you very much, Dan Osley, for the news there. And before that, Matt Chorley for seeing us through the afternoon. And welcome aboard. Welcome to a massive bank holiday Monday of football north and south of the border. Wherever you are, strap yourselves in. What a day lies ahead. From 5:30pm, 2 of the title contenders in Scotland, Hearts and Rangers, meet at Tynecastle in a massive game following Celtic's win against Hibs yesterday. First up, though, we're at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea take on Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, and we have some huge team news from both sides. Lee Blakeman.
We certainly do, Gordon. Good afternoon. Welcome to West London. Let's start with the home team, because the headline team news for Chelsea is that 18-year-old Jesse Derry comes in to make his Premier League debut. He played 12 minutes at Hull in the FA Cup earlier this season, but otherwise nothing whatsoever in the first team. Came through the youth system at Crystal Palace before coming over here to Chelsea a few years ago. He's in as one of 2 changes from the Cup semi-final win against Leeds. Cole Palmer also starts. Garnacho and Pedro Neto are not in the squad today. Forest change 8 from Thursday's win against Aston Villa in the Europa League. That's the big team news as far as they're concerned. Morato, Dominguez and Jesus, the 3 that stay in. So Vitor Pereira clearly prioritising the second leg at Villa Park this coming Thursday, despite the fact they start today just 3 points above the relegation zone following that big win for Tottenham at Villa Park last night.
Thank you so much, Lee. Alongside Lee for this one, former Chelsea goalkeeper Mark Schwarzer. Good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon.
Great to have you, sir. And we're also joined by England's record goal scorer, none other than Ellen White. Good afternoon, Ellen.
Good afternoon, you okay?
I'm in great form. Thank you very much, Mark. How's the bank holiday weekend going so far? All good?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty busy, which is great. And obviously jam-packed of football, which is always great fun.
Excellent, Ellen. Same for you. Good weekend?
Yeah, football.
Excellent. The perfect weekends. Mark, I've got to come to you first on this one about feeling your age. Right? I don't know about you, but when you're Sean Derry's son starting at Stamford Bridge, did it just make you feel every one of your years that you've lived so far?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Absolutely. No, but it's wonderful to see, because I remember it takes me back to when I was younger and I played my first game in the Premier League, and how excited I was, nervous, the anticipation, the thought of, this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, this is my opportunity. Can I prove to people I'm good enough to play in the Premier League? And I'm sure he's got that and everything else going through his mind, and obviously he's got a dad who's vastly experienced and can give him a lot of I suppose knowledge as well on how to handle it.
Ellen, the same question to you. When you see those date of births, creeping into the 2000s, how does that make you feel?
Very old, but also it's just an incredible opportunity for him. He's obviously proved himself in training as well, so this is an amazing opportunity for him, for in particular for next season as well, gaining minutes, gaining experience, and obviously hopefully he'll grab it with both hands.
We'll get into the team news in just a second, but just to stick on this for a second, Ellen, when you are making your debut at this level, can you just articulate what the emotions were like coursing through your veins when you made your big debut?
Nervous, terrified, excited, just everything going through your mind. Obviously for him playing at Stamford Bridge as well, it's just an amazing opportunity. He's obviously experienced being with the first team, so I can imagine that they've all been amazing to him and really supportive. But I think don't worry about it, just go for it. Just enjoy it, thrive under that pressure of playing for Chelsea. But it's just so exciting. Yes, there'll be a few nerves, but that's playing football and that's being a professional footballer. So just grasp the opportunity.
I can just imagine being in the dressing room with Ellen White hearing a speech like that. Senior players have a responsibility, Mark, to look after the young ones, but can you remember what it was like for you making your debut?
I do. As much as you reminded me how long ago it probably was, and how old I must feel right now, but it was all of what Ellen just said, all of the above. It's a whole mixture of emotions, but ultimately, the minute you step over that line, the minute the whistle goes, you are trying to just fully focus on your job and trying not to do too much. not to get too excited, control the nerves, and allow that muscle memory, the memory to come back into it and play a natural game that you're used to playing. And that's, I think, always the key. I think when you're young, there is not a lot of expectation. It's up to you then to set the benchmark, set the bar up, and then you've got to try and deliver that time and time again. But at the moment, when you're young and you're inexperienced in your first debut, it's an opportunity to show people what you can do.
Yeah, and Ellen, looking at these lineups today, the Forest rotation's significant, isn't it? 8 changes there. I mean, you can't really ignore the fact that there must be one eye on that European second leg.
Yeah, it looks pretty obvious that they're prioritising obviously that second leg against Aston Villa. They're 1-0 up in that tie, and obviously they are 3 points off relegation at the moment in the Premier League as well. So they have that little bit of cushion. There's obviously you're not disrespecting any of the players that are in that starting 11, but a lot of them wouldn't be naturally starting in the Premier League for a number of the games previously. So, for Pereira, I think it is that looking at obviously wanting to progress and get to the Europa League final, which is huge for the club as well. But then they have that cushion of 3 points in the Premier League as well. But obviously they want to obviously perform and do well against Chelsea. They're in great form, Forest, as well. They're scoring freely. So, they're full of confidence and momentum as well. So this is a huge opportunity for those players as well to really kind of give themselves a chance to obviously continue playing football for Forest as well.
It's a key point Ella makes there, Mark, isn't it? About momentum, about a great run of form. Is there a slight gamble for Vitor Pereira to mix that lineup so much, given that run of form and the consistency they've had?
I think when you do make that many changes, there is always that risk. It's hard for players that are on the fringes to step up. It's okay when you're making 1 or 2 changes. When you're making 8 changes in this instance, it is hard. It's hard to find momentum, rhythm. That's something that they've had an abundance of. I think the result yesterday certainly would have raised some questions in the manager's mind about whether or not he should go ahead with making so many changes, I believe. I mean, it is a risk. There's no doubt about it. It's obviously a massive game against Villa coming up, which is huge, but priority has to be survival in the Premier League, and Spurs yesterday threw a spanner in the works.
So just looking at the scenes here from Stamford Bridge, Roberto De Zerbi looking animated in the stands, quite upbeat and chipper by the looks of things, and that's not much of a surprise, Ellen, because that was a big old result for Spurs yesterday. That
was an absolutely humongous result for them. I feel like they've slowly just improved since De Zerbi's come in. Just each game, just having that little bit more belief in what he's talking about. It's a bit more tangible what he's obviously been saying, the belief in the team, what they're doing on the training pitch, game by game. Obviously disappointed to get that equaliser against Brighton, then they scrape a win against Wolves, and then suddenly they've obviously got that huge win against Aston Villa, and then you're out the bottom 3. So the belief seems to be there. This seems to be really together as a group, and they've got 3 games now to stay in the Premier League. So that win was absolutely massive for them, on the back of obviously West Ham losing terribly from Brighton with that 3-0 loss.
Yeah, we're going to be doing this a lot today, I'd imagine, sort of thinking about what other managers are managing to ascertain from other teams and what they're doing here. But Mark, De Zerbi must be looking at those changes, and how do you think he's processing them? Do you think it's a smile on his face to see so many changes?
I don't think he really cares. I think all he cares about is his team and his team's performance, and yesterday I think was a huge step in the right direction. And I think what's interesting is that when you look at Tottenham and you look at their run of form recently, yes, they've won the last 2 games in a row. Yesterday's performance was by far the best performance I've seen Tottenham play in some time, but it's fragile. It only needs one bad result, one thing to go against them, where you could throw yourself back in. Look at West Ham. I personally thought West Ham were well on the way of being safe. Now you look at them and you think, well, actually, they look the more vulnerable right now after one bad result. So that's all it takes. It just takes one bad performance with only a few games left that can actually drag yourself back into it. And the positions of who's favourite, who's got more momentum, who's got more confidence can shift immediately.
It really is a magical part of the season for the neutrals. Not so good for the blood pressure if your club is involved, and maybe a good chance to focus on Spurs actually, because they did move out of the relegation spots with the 2-1 win at Villa last night. That's back-to-back wins for Roberto De Zerbi's side. Just have a little listen to what he had to say about his side's belief. This was after his first game in charge, the defeat at Sunderland. That was last month.
It's tough, no? My job is to help them, to play better football, or to give, I don't know how, style of play. but to believe in themselves, because they are able and they are enough to win a game. When we go to win a game, it can be possible to change everything.
Belief is the key word here, and that scrappy win at Wolves a week ago and another win at Villa. Momentum's building. But Ellen, can you just explain how much belief matters for players as they walk across that white line?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Belief in what you're doing, the game plan, belief in each other, the players, also belief in yourself as a player walking on. You know, am I going to perform at the best of my ability? Do I have that belief in myself? And in particular with De Zerbi coming in, you know, he talks about the belief. They were really fragile, you know, Spurs, when he took over. Really fragile. They couldn't string wins together. Not scoring freely, and they just looked so fragile. So for him to come in and really install that belief, but then the players have to believe and trust in what he's saying, and then it has to be tangible. They have to see it, so they have to believe it. They have to do it on the training pitch, and then for it to come to fruition on the pitch, and they're like, okay, yes, you know, what we're doing is the right thing. We've now got that belief installed in us, and now it's just keeping that momentum going. And I think that it's all about that togetherness of that group in that dressing room. Nothing from outside can get in. It's all about the team, the togetherness, what they're talking about, what they're doing on the training pitch, and then what that translates like on the pitch. And they're starting to see that, especially obviously against Aston Villa yesterday.
It's interesting that you focus so much, Ellen, on self-belief, the team spirit. But again, Mark, you know, if you think about the dugout, you look across to De Zerbi and see his body language, his candour, his spirit in interviews. How much of that affects the players, do you think?
I think quite a lot. I think first and foremost, what affects the players is what he says in the change rooms, what he says on the training pitch, the instructions he gives, the sessions he puts on. I think what was interesting yesterday for me was it's the first time in some time that I've seen a Tottenham side that had a real understanding of what they needed to do, being pragmatic, not taking risks, that a game plan, a team plan. Final third was a bit more freedom, not so structured, allowed them to have that freedom, but the energy and the intensity was first class. And I think they've lacked it. They've lacked that simplicity, that simple game plan. Don't take any risks, don't overplay. They didn't do any of that yesterday, and I think that was something that the players really bought into, really thrived in. And they took advantage of an Aston Villa side, not too different to what you're seeing here with the Nottingham Forest side, with a lot of changes, prepping and trying to hold players back for a big semi-final match. Forest are the same. So it's going to be interesting to see how Forest react today by comparison to what Villa did yesterday.
Did you ever feel, Mark, in your career, and Ellen, I'll come to you with this in a second, that there was almost too much talking at a stage of the season? Do you sometimes just need to get out there and actually do it?
There is. I think there's sometimes you can overcomplicate, and I think in a lot of instances now we see teams wanting to play the perfect style of football. They want to start up at the back. They want to play out no matter what. We are going to play no matter what happens. This is how we play our system. And when things are not going well and players' confidence are really rock bottom, you've got to simplify things. You've got to get players together. You've got to almost go through the very basics with them again. I've been in situations before where we've struggled, just the basic defending, trying to get that instruction on the pitch, run through it. Stuff that you've done time and time again throughout your career, but you've lost confidence in it. You need someone to go, right, this is what we're doing. This is how we're setting up. This is how we're covering. We're working together. We're not overcomplicating. We're simplifying. We're hitting the channel. We know our striker's going to make that run down the channel because you know the ball's coming there. One way or the other, it's going there. So make the run. And I think those little elements were very simplified, and I think we saw that with Spurs yesterday.
Because Alan, there must have been a lot of talking, you know, like Thomas Frank into Tudor, and now De Zerbi trying to get his case across to the players. That must be a lot of listening for the players to do to hear his plan.
Yeah, I think, you know, you've got, you know, 3 different managers that you're talking about, all wanting to implement their own style of play, and that requires a lot of talking, a lot of minutes on the training pitch, in the analysis room, watching videos. So it is a lot of talking, and I agree with Mark that it just needs that simplicity. You just need a couple of things that you need to focus on, and for Spurs it's obviously belief, but then on the training pitch it's about being compact and then just having that little bit of freedom going forward. And I feel like you saw that, more players committed going forward. they looked a bit more energy, a bit more intensity, like they really believed in what he was talking about. And then once it comes to fruition, I think the players even believe even more. But I think it is just that simplicity. There's too much talking, just a couple of key points. Let's focus on them on training, and then you can start to add to them once the players are really believing in what you're talking about.
Right, this is Ellen. This is where I put you in the thumb screws here, right, and ask for a number. Leeds at home, Chelsea away, Everton at home. The 3 remaining fixtures for Spurs. How many points do they take from those 9 available?
Well, I'm a West Ham fan, so I probably shouldn't admit that. So
You're invested in this, aren't you? Really invested.
I'm really invested in this. Yes, I think they've got at least probably 6 points they could pick up, I reckon.
Oh, right, okay. Higher or lower, Mark Schwarzer?
No, I agree. I mean, I think they'll win their both home games. They'll lose here to Chelsea, of course.
Very good. Yeah. Listen, Ellen, you've got to go home to a house full of West Ham fans, have you not? Is that everybody in your family all Hammers?
Yes, my dad and my brother in particular, but yeah, it's not the best.
It's going to be a curious schizophrenic time as a football fan at the bottom of the league right now. Okay, we'll come back to you guys in just a second. We've got Ellen White and Mark Schwarzer with us, but we're going to go to the Crucible where the final of the World Snooker Championship continues. Sean Murphy is playing Wu Yiza, and it's all changed in the last hour or so. Jamie Broughton.
It certainly has, Gordon. Sean Murphy resumed this afternoon trailing Wu Yiza by 10 frames to 7, and he's made a fast start to turn this match around. Murphy won the scrappy opening frame, and he followed that with breaks of 76 and 52 as he levelled proceedings at 10 frames all, and the 2005 champion has just made breaks of 55 and 59 to win the last frame before the mid-session interval to go 11-10 up. 18 is the target to be crowned champion.
Excellent stuff. Jamie Broughton will keep you updated with all the action at the Crucible throughout the programme this afternoon. Remember, you can watch the snooker live on BBC Two, and we will keep you updated as the day goes on. Just another score to remind you of: Villa West Ham in the WSL. Latest 2-0 West Ham. You've got to be happy with that side of things then, Ellen?
It's always nice to see a win.
Yes, great stuff. There's so much going on at the moment. I talk about all the permutations that exist. I mean, again, Ellen, for you, you've got club loyalty there to West Ham and family loyalty, but it's a fascinating situation for West Ham where it felt like the tide had turned 9 days ago, and then suddenly the whole mood's changed again with Spurs getting a big result yesterday.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think you can't underestimate the Premier League and the quality and the competitiveness and teams fighting for something, especially when it comes to the end of the season. So you've got a Brentford that have had a brilliant season, and they're fighting for a European place. So they've got a lot to play for, and obviously West Ham, yes, they've come off some decent results. Obviously that last-minute winner against Everton, and then obviously that really big win against Wolves as well. But any team can beat any team at this time of the season. It's such a weird end to a season. But, for West Ham, I think losing 3-0 was just so frustrating and disappointing. And then to see, obviously, Spurs go on and get that result that they needed to get out of the relegation. So it's a real fight and a battle now to see who will obviously, stay up. But for West Ham, that's a huge disappointment.
Yeah, so much at stake today. And at the other end of the table, another game at the Premier League, 8 p.m, of course, a key game. Updates of Everton against Manchester City during the Monday Night Club. Mark Chapman will be seeing you through the evening while that game plays out. City have won their last 8 games away at Everton. They need to keep that up with Arsenal in the title race, of course. And Mark, does it feel, we're going to talk so much about pendulum swinging right now, it's difficult to keep track, but for a while in the week there it felt like City had momentum, but suddenly Arsenal seemed to be back in control.
Yeah, they've really turned around Arsenal again after the disappointment of the result away at Manchester City. Having lost the lead, Manchester City getting themselves back to level terms in terms of points on the table, winning away at Burnley, and you just felt like this is the moment for Arsenal. How are they going to respond? And their response has been positive, and now they find themselves 6 points clear once again. Obviously Manchester City still have to make those games up, but points in the bag are really vital at this stage of the season, and I think there's a psychological advantage to Arsenal at this moment in time. However, let's not forget Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, the experience that he has. There's a couple of players in this squad that know what it takes to win the Premier League title. They'll be around their teammates, really pushing them to lift the standards. And I think it's a brave person to call it right now, but there's certainly an advantage for Arsenal because they've been able to refocus get that 6-point lead again.
Ellen, you know a thing or two about scoring goals, right? But the exciting thing here with goal difference as it is, I think 4 behind City, they have to go and score goals. So you'd imagine the team talk from Pep will be positive and about scoring as many goals as possible.
Well, they haven't got a very good striker, so there's no one they can really call upon, is there? Obviously, that is a huge priority. But I think winning football matches is the priority. Yes, they need to obviously score goals at the same time to win football matches, and yes, that goal difference could come into it, which is really exciting. But it's such a strange one because you ultimately you want the points on the board. So are Arsenal in a better position having the points on the board, or do you want to be Man City that are chasing and have the momentum, but then you're playing very difficult teams at the same time? So it's such a challenge. But yeah, when you've got someone like Haaland that's such a phenomenal talent, Cherki is just, his levels are getting better and better. So I feel like they've got great momentum, but the mentality of Arsenal, those 2 wins are absolutely huge for that football club and really put themselves back in the hot seat for the title. Yeah,
where's Paul Dickoff and Sean Goater when you need them? But Mark Schwarzer, right, there has to be a mention for David Moyes here. West Ham fans must be looking at what he's done there and maybe scratch their heads slightly.
Yeah, absolutely. At the time, I was scratching my head as to why they wanted to change, why they wanted David Moyes out. I thought he did a fantastic job at West Ham. Winning the Conference League as well was phenomenal. I thought, considering all the restraints that he had, or the constraints, that he had at West Ham, I think the stadium, trying to build something, they really started to turn things around. Yes, at times the football wasn't the prettiest, but ultimately it was about results and about being secure in the Premier League and winning trophies, and he delivered all that. What West Ham's loss has certainly been Everton's gain, and he's been phenomenal for Everton. And I think it's almost like a fairy tale reunion with Everton going into the new stadium, a new era. And the great David Moyes, who's been such a huge part of Everton's history of late, being at the helm. I think it's fantastic to see.
The players just starting to gather in the tunnel at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea's first home game and first league game since Liam Rosenior's sack, and of course also interim boss Callum McFarlane's first game as Chelsea's manager at Stamford Bridge. And Ellen, as we were talking about Tottenham there, one win can change the mood at an entire club, can't it?
Oh, definitely. And obviously, for Chelsea, they're obviously in the FA Cup final. It was a huge win against Leeds, and that gave them a lot of kind of confidence, especially for McFarlane as well. But playing at Stamford Bridge, they've been pretty poor there this season. So for them, they need to put a marker down, and they need to start winning football matches, scoring goals as well. So this is a huge game for them and a huge opportunity, and for them to obviously chase a European spot. Champions League spots look pretty out the window at the moment. So for them, they have to win this football match, and it's a great opportunity for those players and obviously for McFarlane as well.
Yeah, Cole Palmer's an interesting one, Mark Schwartz. Obviously the World Cup not far away now. He's struggled with an injury for the first time in his career. What must be going through his head at the moment at Chelsea?
I think consistency, trying to get back to the levels he showed last season, the season before. That's the frustrating bit, I think, for him. Trying to get momentum, having been out for such a long period of time, is tough. The team struggled, he's struggled, hasn't had the same impact. That all plays with your mind. And I think he's learning a lot about himself. He's learning a lot about his body, about how he probably needs to look at his body going forward, what he needs to do to improve it. And trying to find his way back to that top form, that unbelievable player that we saw at Chelsea not so long ago.
Well, he is in the starting lineup today, and he must be anticipating a big performance. A double head of the commentary to come today. We're in Edinburgh for Hearts against Rangers from 5:30pm. But first, we are at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea pushing for Europe, Nottingham Forest battling to avoid the drop. Your commentary team are Mark Schwartzer and Lee Blakeney.
Thank you, Gordon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Stamford Bridge for what should be an absolute cracker. Huge game for both teams. For Forest, they know a win will see them move 6 points clear of the relegation zone and the final spot currently occupied by West Ham. Chelsea badly need a win to end a run of 5 straight Premier League defeats and to keep them in touch with the chase for 6th, which could still be enough for a place in next season's Champions League. The team news, big. Chelsea changed 2 from the League Cup semi-final or the FA Cup semi-final win against Leeds. 18-year-old Jesse Derry comes in to make his Premier League debut, while Cole Palmer also starts Pedro Neto and Alejandro Garnacho are not in the squad. Forest unbelievably changed 8 from Thursday night's win against Aston Villa in the Europa League. Morato, Nicolas Dominguez and Igor Jesus, the 3 that stay in, the likes of Wood, Anderson, Gibbs-White, Williams, Hutchinson, all on the bench. The stage is set. It's bank holiday football. It's a big game towards the top. It's a big game at the bottom. It is Reds against Blues. Mark Schwarzer, I don't know about you, I can't wait.
Oh, it's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, it really is about what Chelsea do. How do they continue from that performance against Leeds United last weekend in the FA Cup semi-final? You could say it's an FA Cup semi-final. It's going to lift everyone. Now they're back down to their bread and butter. It's about now trying to push to get back into a Champions League position, or as high up as they possibly can, to hopefully sneak in. So they have to start performing, and today is when they have to start. And for Nottingham Forest, of course, clearly they have one eye on the Europa League semi-final. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. However, they need to get points on the board to make sure they are safe in the Premier League.
Now, it's obviously about the two team situations and the wider picture that involves both. But just to make it about one young player just for a second, we've just seen his name announced on the scoreboard. He's just been introduced to the crowd. 18-year-old Jesse Derry, the son of former midfielder Sean Derry. What is he going to be thinking right now as he gets ready for his Premier League debut?
Well, I think he'd be really, really excited and just like itching to get going. Can't wait for that whistle to start and get on the ball, get that touch and try and work his way into the game. No doubt he'll want to try and express himself, but he's also, he knows the players. He would have trained with the players for the vast majority, if not all of the season. This is his opportunity to show at Stamford Bridge what he can do in front of a home crowd in a big moment.
Chelsea's players in a huddle in the centre circle. The referee Anthony Taylor's decided not to stand in the middle of it. Forest's players in a huddle just to the left in front of the shed end. They're peeling away from that now. That's where all of their supporters are gathered, the majority wearing Nottingham Forest red. 8 changes, Mark, when you are only 3 points above the relegation zone. Does that surprise you?
Yes, a little bit. It does, I have to be honest. I know it's a massive game, the Europa League semi-final return leg. Yes, they are taking a small advantage into that game. However, your bread and butter has to be, the priority has to be Premier League survival. And yes, they result, for me, changes the way you approach this game. But let's wait and see how it goes.
Forest get us started. Ryan Yates back wearing the captain's armband, kicks us off. Forest kicking from left to right, defending the shed end, attacking the Matthew Harding stand. It's Chelsea against Nottingham Forest as we enter the final few weeks of this 25-26 Premier League season. Full commentary on 5 Live. Mark Schwarzer and myself, Lee Blakeman, your commentary team on this bank holiday Monday afternoon. Forest on the attack straight away with Dakwa and then Yates. His cross is blocked by Cucurella, and it is going to be a throw into Forest on this near side, their right, about 20 yards from the corner flag. Really bright start. Throw in taken quickly by Zach Abbott, wearing shirt number 4 for Forest. Derry, by the way, wearing shirt number 55 for Chelsea. Abbott has seen very little first team football himself. 19 years old, the Forest right back. Long throw into the Chelsea penalty area, headed away by Tosin. It's back with Abbott on this near side. Forwards he goes to Dakwa, runs out of space, and Cucurella will see the ball out for a Chelsea throw in their left back area. 90 seconds gone. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Bigger for Forest, obviously, but huge this. Huge for Chelsea.
It's huge for both clubs, there's no doubt about it, for different reasons, as you're saying. Forest survival, it's about getting points on the board.
Forest on the attack, Dakwa into the area right side, header goes in from a 1-year and it's in! And Nottingham Forest have scored inside 2 minutes. Dakwa with the cross, a 1-year with the header. What a start for Nottingham Forest and Vitor Pereira at Stamford Bridge. They need 3 points to move 6 clear of the drop zone, and things could not have started any better. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1.
Oh, what a start for Nottingham Forest. Backwards cross into the box was absolutely superb. It was pinpoint accuracy at the edge of the 6-yard box. And Awoniyi jumping up. It's a free header, and he guides it into the left-hand side of the goal. Gives Sanchez no chance whatsoever. He's in full stretch to his right, and it's a brilliant start for Nottingham Forest. It came from nothing, really.
Just his third goal of the season, Tayo Awoniyi. It was a pinpoint cross. He was 8 yards out. Sanchez flying to his right, couldn't keep it out. Awoniyi will get the plaudits, but quite right, Mark Schwarzer. What a ball in from Delaney Bakwa in the first place.
Oh, it was brilliant. First and foremost, I mean, he turns Mark Cucurella inside out, doesn't he? I mean, it's poor defending from such an experienced player. It does not get close enough to him. Bakwa uses his pace to get on the outside of him, and as he gets that, floats that cross in. It's such a good delivery, and Awoniyi does so well. Jumps up, full stretch, uncontested. He just guides it into that far post, and Sanchez is at full stretch to his right, just can't get anything on it.
He likes big games in London in 2026. Tayo Awoniyi, last goal came in that big win at Spurs in March, and what a start here. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Wow.
Well, any questions about whether or not they'd be a bit disjointed with so many substitutions made or so many changes to the starting 11 made by Nottingham Forest, I think is probably put to the side a bit. I mean, certainly the way they've started so well.
And Chelsea in the midfield can't string two passes together. They're going to get a free kick here now for a foul in the midfield on Moises Caicedo. So Chelsea free kick just to the left of the centre circle.
I have to mention Anthony Taylor, the referee, was excellent. There was a foul on Ryan Yates.
Yeah.
He allowed play to play on, and that's why that goal came about for Nottingham Forest. He could have blown his whistle, but he allowed play to play on. He acknowledged that it was a foul, but it was a play on. And then after the goal went in, he went back to Yates and said to him, look, it was play on, you've scored. You know, and Yates actually picks himself up, but it was a clear foul on him.
Chelsea lose it again in the midfield, and here come Forest once more. I tell you what, any more sloppiness in the Chelsea midfield, and you can already feel inside 5 minutes these home supporters starting to turn. As things stand, they're on their way to 6 straight Premier League defeats for the first time since November 93. They've never lost 6 in a row in the league without scoring a goal in their whole history. But those are the dire straits that Chelsea find themselves in at the moment. Nottingham Forest, 8 changes from the Europa League, and they have started superbly well as they move the ball over to Luca Netz, wearing shirt number 25 on the halfway line, back to Morato, and now Dominguez gets a touch, plays a quick 1-2 with Netz over on the far side. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. 5 Live Sport on this bank holiday Monday afternoon. The way this has started, it's going to be quite the day of football anyway. Do not move away from BBC Sounds, from your smart speaker, from your radio, because we've got this until 5. Then Hearts Rangers with Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis live from Tynecastle at 5:30. Then reaction to it all in the Monday Night Club with Mark Chapman. Later start than usual at 7:30. Mark joined by Shay Given, Charlie Adam and Rory Smith to talk about what has been just a dramatic weekend of football, and things getting even more dramatic at the bottom end of the table. Chelsea, that's a good ball out from the midfield from Caicedo. Ball out to the right. Gusto goes moving forward. He's got Cole Palmer for Kompany out there. Takes a touch, moves inside, decides not to try and take on Netz. Ball chipped out to the left. This is Jesse Derry's first real touch, edge of the area left side, rolls it back to the captain Enzo Fernandez, ball through, and Cole Palmer's late run was just a little bit too late that time, and it goes behind for a goal kick with Forest leading 1-0.
Yeah, nice little play from Chelsea, switch from one side of the park to the other, and it's Derry who gets the ball. He does well, just a couple little step overs and lays it, just a simple square pass to Fernandez, and he sees Cole Palmer's late run into the box, and unfortunately Fernandez's cross into the box just had a little bit too much whip on it and took the ball away from Cole Palmer, but very, very close.
Do you know what? Rule number 1 of commentary, read out the 2 lineups. It's been such a frantic start here in West London. I haven't even done that yet. I'll do it as soon as we get a chance to draw breath and as soon as we get a break in play here, but it's been played at such a superb pace, this, as Gusto has the ball at right back for Chelsea. Back to Sanchez. Tosin goes back to his goalkeeper, and his numbers, Sanchez, no Premier League clean sheets. It's the 2-0 win here against Brentford in the middle of January. That's a run that's going to extend. Can't be doing his confidence any good whatsoever. That's in the Premier League, those numbers.
Yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? I mean, in this instance, obviously, there's no pointing fingers at Sanchez. In this instance, it was a great header, poor defending, but a really good header for the goal. It is sometimes when you sit there and you're going through these runs of not being able to keep clean sheets, the more it gets talked about, the more you're on edge about it, and it's a frustrating circumstances. As a team, they haven't defended well so far in this opening minutes.
Forest have the ball inside their own half. Yates, the captain, moves the ball to the right to Bakwa, who got the assist for the goal. He's fouled, and Forest will have a free kick. That goal from Taiwo Awoniyi, by the way, if you missed it because you were thinking, is it Saturday afternoon? Is it Monday afternoon? It is Monday. It is a 3 o'clock kickoff. If you missed the goal, it was timed at 97 seconds in front of the Matthew Harding stand, opposite end from where the Forest fans are gathered in the shed end, just away to our left. We're high up here on the gantry at the top of the main stand, so we've got a great view of that cross from Bakwa. The Forest fans, we've got a great view of them as well, Mark. They enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, very much so. I mean, just there was an instant in the game just now. Mark Cucurella just giving Bakwa a bit of a kick, and I think it was a bit of like, don't do that to me again. Going outside past me, show me a few dummies getting past me and whipping a cross in for your teammate to score.
Sanchez plays the ball out from the back, gives it to Gusto, put him under all kinds of pressure. We were talking about this in the press room pre-match, the persistence that certain goalkeepers have, Mark, playing out from the back. You'll know all about it. We were talking to Matthew Upson about it, actually. It's not his strength. It's invited pressure onto them here. Fortunately, it's fallen kind for them in the midfield. And Chelsea burst down the centre with João Pedro. Was that a foul? Yes, says the referee. And he brandishes the first yellow card of the afternoon. João Pedro using his pace, and he was brought down that time. Was that Morato? It was.
Yeah, I think it's a bit soft. I tell you what, Morato, I think he's really unfortunate. Like I know he does put his arm on. I mean, he does pull his shirt a little bit, I suppose, and Anthony Taylor was right there. And I mean, look, I'm all for it. Just because it's in the opening minutes of the game doesn't mean, or the opening 10 minutes doesn't mean it doesn't warrant a yellow card for just trying to break up play and slow the opposition counter-attack football off. So, all right, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. Good decision from Anthony Taylor.
Always looks worse at pace as well, doesn't it? And that was a great turn of pace that João Pedro showed in the midfield. So 10 minutes played, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Chelsea with a free kick to the left of centre, about 35 yards from the byline. Fernandez, well, I don't know if that was a floated delivery or a shot. Either way, Forest dealt with it, and it's out for a Chelsea throw.
Yeah, I think it was one of those cross shots where he's hoping that just gets overhead height.
Quick throw to Derry, does well to keep the ball in play on the byline. Worked back to Fernandez, hits the foot of the post. Great move, great effort from Fernandez. Side foot shot, edge of the area, comes back off the bottom of the post. Ball still live as Chelsea go back into the centre circle with Tosin. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. That's Chelsea's first serious effort on goal, and it's come from their captain, who's just hit the post. But here come Forest on the counter now with Luca Nets bursting forwards to the edge of the area. Inside he goes, left side. He's got Lavia for Kompany, rolls the ball back, and again Forest just showing the pace that they've got on the counter in the wide areas with Abbott one side, Luca Nets the other. They've still got the ball midway inside the Chelsea half, and then they go back into the centre circle to Jair Cunha. We'll bring Mark in on that effort for Fernandez in just a second, but Forest still on the attack here with Dakwa, got the assist for the goal, running at Cucurella, beats Cucurella into the area right side. Dakwa with another cross, Awoniyi goes down. Forest want a penalty. Referee Anthony Taylor unmoved as he's surrounded by 3 wearing red. Mark Schwarzer, what a game this is.
Yeah, it's played it certainly at a high pace. We've seen this ball as it comes into the box. When he's making a run to the far post, we don't actually see it on that replay. When he goes to ground, he's claiming straight away. We'll see it a bit better now on another angle. Is he clipped? Oh, he's held.
This is going to be a penalty.
I think it will be.
Well,
Gusto grabs his shirt. I mean, surely.
Well, if we've just seen Morato yellow carded for a shirt pull on João Pedro,
has to be.
VAR checking a possible foul. This, for me, with a shirt pull like that so soon after that yellow card for Morato, this has to be nailed on, surely.
I think it has to be a penalty. I really do. I mean, it's a clear grabbing hold of the shirt. It's not even just a slight tug. It is a full hold on to it. I mean, it's not just crazy.
Anthony Taylor still unmoved midway inside the Chelsea half. Again, it was Bakwa who did all the damage down the Forest right. Brilliant left-footed cross. VAR still having a look at this, and Anthony Taylor is going to get sent to the screen over on the far side, and as soon as he sees this shirt pull, Mark, there's going to be no debate.
It's definitely a penalty. In my eyes, I mean, I'd be absolutely flabbergasted if he doesn't give this as a penalty. For me, it's a stonewall penalty. Gusto is out of position when he's made a run in between him and Trevor Chalobah. Chalobah's been beaten by the delivery of the cross, and Gusto just reaches out and grabs hold of his shirt. I mean, it's a clear foul.
Clear being the key word when you look at it back on the pictures that Anthony Taylor is currently seeing. It is so obvious. Here he comes. I think we're going to hear from him now.
After review, Chelsea number 27 deliberately pulls his opponent. Therefore, my final decision is penalty kick and yellow card.
So a yellow card for Gusto, a penalty for Nottingham Forest, and wild celebrations in the shed end at the opposite end of Stamford Bridge here. Chelsea's season goes from bad to worse to just flat out inexplainable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking down at the bench from Nottingham Forest. I'm not sure if they're complaining about it should be a red card. It's definitely not a red card. He's not the last man. Trevor Chalobah's there in between. I mean, it's a clear penalty. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. And it's just lazy defending, out of position. It's a really good ball into the box from Bakwa once again. Second time in the game. It's fantastic delivery. I don't even know if Owani's going to get on the end of it, but we'll never know because his shirt was pulled.
Well, Awoniyi, he fancied this penalty, having won it, but instead it's going to be taken by Igor Jesus. 15 gone, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Big moment for Forest in front of the Matthew Harding end of the ground as they look to move 6 points clear of the relegation zone. Upsets Jesus and puts it down the middle, and Nottingham Forest dreamland in the Europa League and dreamland now at Stamford Bridge as they battle to stay in the Premier League. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 2, and we've not had 15 minutes.
Very cool, very calm penalty taken straight down the middle. Jesus just waits, delays his run as he's sort of striding towards the goal. Sanchez goes slightly early, and that's all he needed. He's straight down the middle, and Sanchez gone to his right hand side.
And I tell you what, supporters, media, what do we know, Mark Schwartz? So we were dumbfounded that Vitor Pereira had made 8 changes, and it is paying dividends for Forest at the moment. Long way to go, of course, but what a start.
Brilliant start. Couldn't have gone any better for them. Chelsea have been poor. Let's mince words. They've been really poor. They've been lacklustre. If you compare the start they had against Leeds last weekend in the FA Cup semi-final to today's start, it is miles apart. It's been just too relaxed, too standoffish, not in their face. Yes, they've hit the post. They've had a couple of half-decent sort of attempts, but nowhere near good enough so far.
16 goals for the season, Igor Jesus. That's his 6th in the Premier League. It moves him level for goals in all competitions for Forest with Gibbs White, who we were all stunned to see starting on the bench here at Stamford Bridge. He's being rested in readiness for Thursday at Villa Park, but at the moment Vitor Pereira has got that call spot on, and somebody who's sitting inside Stamford Bridge wearing sunglasses, looking like he's in some kind of crazy disguise, is the Spurs boss, Roberto De Zerbi. He's probably sitting there thinking, I cannot believe what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, for Spurs, I think it's a bit irrelevant. It really is about just making sure they finish above the bottom 3. He's more scouting Chelsea for their game coming up in a couple of weeks' time against Chelsea. So, I mean, look, the performance from Nottingham Forest so far has been really, really good. Well, they're going to be careful here is not to lose their head a bit. Caicedo's just swiped at Jesus. Yeah. I mean, it's just a silly challenge. I mean, there's not even a yellow card, which I'm a little bit surprised by. But even Anthony Gordon not having a word with Caicedo's because it was just a silly, reckless challenge.
And we've just seen the camera zoom in on caretaker manager Callum McFarlane, his first time leading Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. It's what many dream of, connected to the football club. For him, it's turning into an absolute nightmare. Chelsea have the ball in the midfield. They lose it. Is that a foul? Forest want a free kick. Nothing doing, says referee Taylor, who was perfectly placed. Here's Palmer, edge of the area, right side, cuts in, left foot, curls one on, and it's just wide at the far post. Ironic cheers from the Forest fans behind that goal. Goal kick to Forest, Chelsea 0, Forest 2.
Yeah, it's difficult to see from our angle how close that actually was. I mean, you always think when Cole Palmer gets the ball that something's going to happen. He has that shot as he comes in on his left-hand side, from the right-hand side of the pitch. He comes in on his left foot. He looks to curl it to that far post, and actually looking at the replay, he looks like he's at least 1.5 meters, if not a little bit further away from that post. So I think that was quite wide in the end.
And I tell you what I have noticed, whenever Nottingham Forest have had a set piece or a goal kick or whatever, when they were 1-0 up and now when they're 2, they'd be forgiven away from home at Chelsea for slowing their game down, stopping the pace of the game. They are in a hurry to try and get a third here. They were in a hurry to get a second. They've got that. Now they want a third. They want to strike while they're on top in this game. Forest do well there to prevent a possible corner and will play the ball high towards Awoniyi, who scored the first, won the penalty for the second, currently standing on the halfway line, can't make it stick, and Chelsea will build again from the back. 5 Live Sport on a bank holiday Monday afternoon. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 2, after what has been just the most crazy start here in West London.
You see Chelsea on the ball, you see Lavia on the ball, Cucurella. There's just so little movement from Chelsea. Everybody's just looking. Very few movement either to the ball or away from the ball. And it's been pretty easy for Nottingham Forest at this moment in time.
Good ball from Sanchez to the left to Jesse Derry, making his Premier League debut, wearing shirt number 55, goes to Caicedo in the midfield, and now Shalabar forwards from centre half, plays the ball out to the right. Now Lavia in the midfield. Chelsea just look lacking in creativity, lacking in ideas as they try and move forwards down the right, down the left, down the centre. Here again, frustrated tackle in the midfield. Forest have 2 down and they've won a free kick. And just as you were talking about that Caicedo tackle on the halfway line a few moments ago, frustrated seems the ideal word to use to describe Chelsea.
Yeah, it is at the moment. I mean, and you can understand them being frustrated, but a lot of it's their own doing. Just haven't approached this game with the same sort of intensity we saw last weekend. And I think, you felt like they maybe turned the corner last weekend. And there's been little moments. Fernandez's shot hits the outside of the post, was a really good little intricate little play. 1 or 2 others before that, but still not enough. Defensively been poor. 2 poor goals they've given away so far.
It would have been dreamy as well for Jesse Derry had that Fernandez shot gone in and not hit the post, because he would have got the assist on his Premier League debut. He's got the ball at the moment, the 18-year-old. Bright blonde hair on this near side. Cucurella takes over, and now Caicedo left side of the midfield. Chelsea just trying to string a few passes together to build some confidence at the moment. 2-0 down in no time. Tosin to Shalabar, to Lavia in the midfield, now to Cucurella, and now to Derry again. He's probably looked the most creative Chelsea player in the opening 20 minutes here at Stamford Bridge. Here's Tosin in the centre circle. If you've joined us late, Chelsea with Sanchez in goal, Gusto, Shalabar, Tosin and Cucurella the back 4, then a 2 of Caicedo and Lavia, a 3 of Palmer, the captain, Fernandez and Derry, with João Pedro the main focal point up top. I'll run through the Forest lineup for you in just a second. It's just one of those games at the moment where you daren't take your eyes off the pitch. Palmer wide on the right, gives it to Gusto, and now Palmer again, level with the edge of the Nottingham Forest penalty area as Chelsea try and mount some kind of serious attack to trouble Matt Sells in the Nottingham Forest goal. Here's Derry again, running at Abbott. Right foot, left foot, he looks confident on the ball, the Chelsea youngster. He's got support from Cucurella. Was that a foul on Derry? Referee Anthony Taylor's not interested despite the appeals. Chelsea stringing plenty of passes together in this move, but not really doing anything with it. Gusto down the right, running at McAtee, who's over there. First time I've said McAtee's name in the game so far. Quiet but effective and efficient, keeping things knitting together for Forest in the midfield, but it's Chelsea who are trying to knit things together at the moment. 5 Live Sport from the BBC, live on the BBC Sounds app as well. Hearts Rangers to come later, 5:30, Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis And then Monday Night Club with Mark Chapman from 7:30. Updates of another massive game in the Premier League. Everton against Manchester City, trying to close that 6-point gap at the top of the table. The ball's gone out for a Forest throw in their left-back area. They line up with Sells in goal. Abbott, Giacunia, Morato and Nets across their back four as Chelsea come on the attack down the right this time with Cole Palmer, and he wins Chelsea their first corner of the game at the midway point of the first half.
Yeah, they haven't really done that so far in this opening 20-odd minutes of this game, where the wingers have actually gone and taken someone on, trying to get past them on the outside. Cole Palmer did it now and wins a corner. Quick corner, Fernandez, Gusto to the byline, sends in a right-footed cross. Did it deflect? No, it was just a really, really poor effort, and it's a goal kick to Nottingham Forest, who've got Yates and Dominguez in the midfield, McAtee and Bakwa playing in the two wide areas, and then Jesus and Awonyi, the two goal scorers, up top. And you have to say, whether it be those two up top, or certainly Bakwa in one of the wide areas, they have looked absolutely superb, Nottingham Forest, in the first quarter of this game. No, they've been very good for the 2-0 lead at the stage. They've worked well. I think they've had good intensity. They've been out of good shape. They've started the game with the right kind of attitude, and that's why they find themselves 2-0 ahead.
Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 2, and Chelsea supporters, you can hear the moans and groans around us, frustrated that they've gone back to Shalabar inside their own half. That's a foul on Lavia on the halfway line, so a free kick taken quickly by Callum McFarlane's Blues as Caicedo moves out of the centre circle, just to the left of it. Poor pass. He's had a shocking first 23.5 minutes. Moises Caicedo. And as soon as you see passes like that, people all go back to transfer fees. £115 million from Brighton. So much money spent on so much of this Chelsea talent, and it has not paid dividends at all. One win in their last 9 in the Premier League. That was convincing. I did the game actually, 4-1 away at Aston Villa. Brilliant that night, but otherwise just shocking for the majority of 2026. And they've lost the ball again in the midfield. Delaney Bakwa, lovely audacious little flick to bring Jesus into the game. He's got 2 for Kompany, but Forest they're just playing with Chelsea at the moment, Mark.
They just look very confident and very assured. They know when the next runner's running. There's a lot of movement off the ball. Chelsea have been quite static. When someone's got the ball, there's not a lot of movement. For Forest, though, it's just the opposite. Everybody's on the move. There's energy. There's patterns of play. They just look really hungry.
Chelsea have the ball with Cucurella in their left-back area. Busy old week of football coming up on 5 Live. Back in the capital tomorrow night for commentary of Arsenal against Atletico Madrid with Matt Upson and John Murray. We were talking to Matt pre-match. Wednesday, Bayern against PSG. PSG leading that 1-5-4 in the other Champions League semi-final. Then it's Forest at Villa. Thursday night in the Europa League, Chelsea with a cross here towards Derry, who tried a volley on the turn, right-footed, off target, but another sign that he is not lacking in confidence, Mark Schwarzer, at all.
No, he's not. It's a decent effort, I have to say, a difficult one. Malo Gusto, for the first time in the game, gets a little bit of space down that right-hand side and whips in a pretty good cross to the far post area. That's what Derry tries it on the side volley, just can't quite keep it down. Sort of balloons it over the crossbar, but a decent effort.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the replay and where the ball ended up. I mean, it nearly ended up in the Thames, to be honest with you, but 10 out of 10 for confidence. 18 years of age on your Premier League debut, and you're trying that, and here he is again. Goes back, completes the pass to Tosin, and you can hear the applause from around us. They're happy with what they've seen from the youngster, the Chelsea supporters. It's everybody else they've got a problem with.
Yeah, I mean, he's taken care of the ball. I don't think he's lost the ball yet, and he's tried to create something. He's got some good movement. He's had a couple of half chances. He's been involved in any of Chelsea's half chances so far in the game, so he's been very positive so far.
Cucurella on the halfway line. 26 minutes gone. If you've joined us late, what a start here for Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 2. Forest 1 up through a 1-knee inside 2 minutes, 2 up through a Jesus penalty just inside 15. Here are Chelsea trying to respond with Palmer, right of centre, 22 yards out. Now Fernandez, and now Cucurella, and now Derry again. into the area left side, runs in between two. Can he be the third in the form of Ryan Yates? No, he can't. Forest captain does really well, stays on his feet, stands up tall and stops Derry while he was in full flow. Chelsea have it back, and the home supporters here can sense that this is probably, possession-wise, the best spell that their team have had in this game so far. Here's Shalabar, works the ball to the right. Palmer's out there, he's got Gusto inside. Palmer running at 2 in red at the moment, goes back to Lavia. Another one who came in for big money, £45 million. Caicedo, mentioned 115 for him earlier. Lavia again in a battle with Bakwa, does well, finds Cucurella, and now Derry cuts in on his right foot. Heavy second touch, but it goes to Caicedo. Now Fernandez, and now Palmer. Chelsea starting to move through the gears here. Palmer running at Luca Netz though. Excellent interception. Draws the foul from a frustrated Palmer, and that's going to be a Forest free kick. Really well played by Luca Netz.
Yeah. Chelsea's little bit of play there was really good. The movement and the ball speed and the movement off the ball was very good. As it goes to Cole Palmer though, his first touch is a really poor one, and that allows Luca Netz to come in and win the ball, and he was on the front foot. He was just waiting for an opportunity to close him down, and Palmer just made it too easy for him. But it was good defending from the Nottingham Forest player.
Mark Schwarzer with us here on 5 Live Sport. Former Chelsea goalkeeper, formerly of Leicester, Fulham, Borough, Bradford. Been around a bit, Mark.
Yeah, but come on, it's over 20 years, so it's not bad, really.
Well, I think it's 30 years since you made your debut, wasn't it? 96?
Yes. Well, I haven't played for 10 years, but over a 20-year period, that's not too many clubs.
That's what Gordon Smart was saying in the build-up. Days when you see son of Sean Derry make his debut, you must feel just that little bit older. I know I do, certainly at 37.
I only started to think about it since you guys mentioned it. Otherwise, I'm excited for the young man. You know, I think it's a fantastic time of your career when you get an opportunity to play in the Premier League, and he's obviously clearly earned it. He's looked very assured and very confident so far in these opening half an hour of the game, and let's hope it continues.
Well, you either, from Jesse Derry's point of view, come in full of nerves or full of confidence. He looks definitely full of the latter at the moment. Here he is again on the attack. Cucurella overlapping to the byline, left-footed cross, good-looking cross, just too high for João Pedro, cleared away. Fernandez, and now Lavia chips it up, hits one. Good block that time by Dominguez. Ball spins away, and Forest do well through McAtee to prevent the Chelsea corner. They settle for a throw-in over on the far side, and this time it's Derry who stayed down.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's holding his face, or he's got a... I'm not sure. Maybe there's a bit of a challenge off the ball. I'm not quite really sure. He's running to someone. Seems to be claiming... He's complaining to the referee.
It's Ryan Yates who he's had a coming together with. Bit of a shove, just looking at the replay there. Just trying to get a clearer shot. He's certainly not looking too comfortable around the area of his left eye at the moment, Jesse Derry. Just having a word with Anthony Taylor, and he's going to need some treatment. Chelsea medics called for. Half an hour played. That gives us, Mark Schwarzer, a little bit of chance to draw breath here. What have you made of it?
Oh, look, I think for Chelsea at the moment in time, it's obviously been a big disappointment. They haven't played at the level they should have played at. They haven't started the game well. That's why they find themselves 2-0 down. I think defensively it was poor. Certainly the first goal, second goal was even worse in terms of pulling a shirt, holding on to someone. So that was disappointing from Chelsea, and they've only started to play a little bit better as the game has gone on. But I have to give credit to Forest. I thought they've started the game in excellent fashion, really good intensity, and they've taken their chances and deserve to be 2-0 ahead.
Interesting people watching on here. The England manager Thomas Tuchel, Roberto Martinez is here. We mentioned earlier Spurs boss Roberto De Zerbi is here. Thiago Silva we've just seen on the monitors watching on, and the most excited I got all afternoon, just looking away to our right, Radio 2's Jeremy Vine is also watching on the top of the main stand. I was buzzing when I saw him taking his seat 10 minutes before kick-off. He's just sitting away to our right here. Won't be too happy with what he's seeing at the moment, because his Chelsea side are 2-0 down to Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest have been excellent value for that. Derry's just been off to receive some treatment. Good spot by John Southall, who's working with us. It was actually his contact lens that must have come missing during that contact with Ryan Yates, so he's just had that adjusted. Now the Chelsea fans aren't happy that he's just having to take his time before he can come back onto the field. Chelsea send a long ball forwards, and that went a long way off target, and there you can hear, just over half an hour in, the first noticeable boos from the home sections of Stamford Bridge aimed towards their own team.
Yeah, I mean, look, a bit of miscommunication between Tosin and Cole Palmer, but Tosin's ball was very, very optimistic. He's overhit it actually over the top, and didn't matter even if Cole Palmer had made the run, he was never getting it. It was a poor pass from the centre half.
Goal kick to Nottingham Forest, 13 minutes to go until half-time. Yeah, I was excited today that we bumped into Jeremy Vine, got on the train yesterday, bumped into Jason Mountford. It's been a weekend of celebrity spotting, I tell you, as Forest come forwards again. Ball forwards, Jesus on the turn, straight down the throat of Sanchez, who made a more routine save than I'm sure he was expecting.
Yeah, it was I think he felt relieved that the ball was hit so well, but came basically straight at him. It was a good little play, little movement from the two strikers for Nottingham Forest was really good. Jesus' touch is excellent, his strike was really good, just the direction wasn't great. And again, I was going to say, defending, Tosin on this occasion just got bullied off the ball.
Edge of the area, Jesus, left foot shot, caught it sweetly anywhere else, and Sanchez was in a world of trouble, as it was, straight at the Chelsea keeper. And at the top of this main stand, we were right behind Jesus as he took that on the turn, scored the penalty, caught that one well. Sanchez equal to it. Here come Chelsea down the other end with Lavia, tried to thread in Fernandez in field, poor pass, Forest intercept, Nets will come away with the ball, just about reaches Yates with his pass, Yates gets clattered by Lavia in the midfield, no free kick for Forest, and here come Chelsea on the counter with Enzo Fernandez. And now Jesse Derry to the edge of the area left side, tackled, throw in Chelsea, 30 yards from the corner flag.
Yeah, Lavia gives the ball away. It was poor pass, but then he does make amends for it. He comes back and it was a really good interception. Yates goes down looking like he's calling for a free kick, but it clearly wasn't.
Chelsea on the attack with Palmer down the right, ball into the D. Fernandez thinks about a shot, tries a shot, blocked, appeals for handball, will be inevitable, but far from convincing. And Chelsea will build again from the back with Tosin on the halfway line. 11 minutes to go until half-time. Chelsea trailing this game on 5 Live by 2-0. Here's Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, I think Forest have done well. Their shape has been good. They've not dived in. They've defended what they had to defend. Chelsea's just not doing enough with the ball. Every time they kind of ask some questions, Forest have been up for it, but it just hasn't been good enough so far.
Chelsea throw taken quickly to Fernandez, 25 yards from goal. That's a good ball to pick out Derry, left side of the area, tries a right foot shot, easy for Matt Sells, who makes his first save of the game with 34.5 minutes on the clock.
Now, I tell you what, it's worth the effort from Derry. Does well, waits for an opportunity, shapes up, and it looks like he's going for that far corner from this left-hand side. He's looking like he's going to whip it around.
Here come Forest again on the attack. Down the left, into the penalty area they go. He looked threatening for a second, McAtee was just closed down. Forest have to settle for a corner, but just like that, Forest nearly made it 3.
It's just the disorganisation between Chelsea's defence. I don't quite understand it. There's just lack of communication. They seem to be all over the place. They're like 4 Chelsea players back in place, 2 Nottingham Forest players, and they're losing out. There's just no communication, no organisation, and they're just looking at each other, you know, holding their arms out, asking each other what's going on.
Now, Delaney Bakwa is going to take this Forest corner, their first of the game, on the Forest left. He's put in 2 crosses so far. One resulted in the first goal, the other resulted in a penalty which led to the second. This is a quick corner to McAtee, edge of the area, takes the deflection and wide. It was a trailing ground move. McAtee running onto it, hit it on the 18 yards line, deflected wide, and it must have taken a deflection off his own player because the referee said goal kick.
Yeah, you can see Chelsea are all set up for a zonal kind of shot. I tell you what, a deflection
off Morata,
that almost goes into the top corner. It's off Morata's chest. Oh, that is so close from going into the top left-hand corner.
Sanchez rooted to his spot. The deflection would have completely left him helpless. Instead, just off target. And one of those as a keeper that I'm sure you just breathe a huge sigh of relief when you see it sail wide.
Yeah, I mean, McAtee is from the left-hand side, so he's aiming, his shot is for the right-hand side of the goal. And Sanchez is obviously going for that, and it takes a massive deflection off Morata's chest and goes completely the opposite way, so Sanchez had no chance.
Forest 2 up at Stamford Bridge. 8.5 minutes to go until half-time. Chelsea on the attack down the right with Cole Palmer, and now to Fernandez, who's tried to pull the strings, the Chelsea captain in the midfield, but to no avail so far. Here's Derry down the left, cross goes in, Forest clear sideways, not really downfield. Abbott helps it on its way up to Awoniyi, ball out to the right. Are Forest going to be able to keep this in play with Jesus? No, they're not, and it's going to be a Chelsea throw on their left, just inside their own half, taken quickly by Caicedo. But every single time a Forest player picks up the ball loose in the midfield, one pass and they're on the attack just like that.
Well, they've got pace up front, they're more direct, and Chelsea are obviously committing players forward. They've still got enough players in defence, but no one seems to be tight. No one's really taking responsibility at the moment from Chelsea. That's what's been, I think, causing them problems as well.
Forest at Villa, second leg of the Europa League semi-final. 5 live commentary on Thursday. Forest against Newcastle in the Premier League. 5 live commentary next Sunday. Forest, after that, go away to Manchester United and then end the season at home to Bournemouth. But if they move to 42 points here, surely that's got to be them safe.
Not mathematically.
No.
But, and the way this season has gone, I mean, I'm not surprised if you need more to stay up, certainly than the 40. So, yeah, look, it may well be enough, but it's heading them in the right direction, of course, and it's the perfect score. If they can win this game and pick up 3 points, with all the changes they've made, it gives them a fantastic chance to just concentrate on that second semi-final.
In the Premier League era, only one team has gone down with 42 points. That was West Ham, 2002-2003. West Ham in the bottom 3 as things stand. Chelsea switch from left to right to Palmer here on the edge of the area, and now Lavia does well to turn away from Jesus. Can he get a shot away? No, because he's got another red shirt in his face. Finds Fernandez, tries to weave his way through, can't, because Forest's defence is just so difficult for Chelsea to break down. Now Derry wins his side a corner. Chelsea just being frustrated when they get into the final third.
No, they're trying to go straight through the middle. I mean, they're just trying to go, and it's really compacted. Forest have got a really 2 banks of 4, really compacted, narrow. The space is out wide. Get the ball out wide, take a touch, whip it in. Take on a player, get around him, whip it in. They're just not doing that often enough, Chelsea.
Chelsea second corner, Fernandez with an in-swinger. Shed end, and it goes towards the 6 yards area. Sells, comes, gets something on it. Clawed it away to McAtee, but referee Anthony Taylor has blown up for a foul in the 6 yards area anyway, and Forest can breathe again. They have a free kick. Chelsea 0, Forest 2, 6 minutes to go until half time.
Yeah, I think it's Ryan Yates in that near post area. He gets fouled. That's what the referee blows his whistle for. And in the end, Forest did still, in the end, just manage to deal with the pressure.
Gordon Smart will have the rest of the day's sports news for you at half time, including the latest from the Crucible. Final day of the World Snooker Championship final. Wu Yiza led 10-7 overnight, but it's been a great start earlier this afternoon, made by Sean Murphy. So we'll get the latest from Jamie Broughton at the Crucible in the next 10 minutes on the show. Here the ball is in the centre circle with Chelsea, and Joao Pedro does well to find himself half a yard. That's all Yates would allow him, and Forest come away again with Jesus. Chelsea intercept. Ball falls for Derry. How many times have I said that in the first half from a Chelsea point of view? Joao Pedro does well, sticking out his long right leg to steer the ball away from a Forest defender. Moves into the area left side. He's still going, Joao Pedro. This is a great solo run. Goes down. Referee Anthony Taylor's having none of it and tells him to get straight back to his feet.
Yeah, that was poor. That was really poor from Joao Pedro. It was not a penalty. He's clearly played for it. He runs out of space. He actually makes the wrong decision, as in when he starts to take his touch and go out left, and he's going into nowhere. He knows he's running out of room. He's got nowhere to go. I mean, he trips over his own foot. And I mean, when I say he tripped over his own foot, it was one of those ones where I think he just dives. It's a clear dive. I'm surprised he didn't get a yellow card for his dive.
Well, I was going to say, Anthony Taylor was so animated in telling Joao Pedro to get to his feet. You sit here as a spectator thinking, well, book him then. He won't do it again.
Well, I mean, I thought they were the rules anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, no, you just don't want to see that. It's just a blatant dive. You're trying to con the referee and the linesman to give you a penalty, which is crazy because with VAR, it doesn't work either.
No, he'd run down a blind alley and ran out of ideas there. Chelsea back in their own half with the ball. Palmer, it has been a great watch, this first 45 at Stamford Bridge, certainly from a Nottingham Forest perspective, but from the point of view of a neutral, you've not been able to take your eyes off this game for a single second. It's been you attack, we attack. Forest have had the best of it. Fernandez down the centre, tries to find Joao Pedro with a through ball cut out by Forest. McAtee can't take it on the turn. and Chelsea will have it back wide on their right with Palmer, who came in as one of 2 changes made by Callum McFarlane and has been kept incredibly quiet so far over on that far side, Cole Palmer.
Yeah, he has. I mean, that's been the problem, I think, since he's come back from injury. It's the impact he has on games so far. He's struggled to find any rhythm, any kind of ability to impact games.
It's a foul on Gusto over on the far side by, I think that's Lucanet, it is, and it's going to be a free kick to Chelsea, 20 yards from the byline, wide on the right, and an opportunity here in the final 2.5 minutes of the first half for Enzo Fernandez to put Max Sells under some rare pressure. He could have sat on his deck chair and had a cigar, couldn't he, or his keeper?
Well, I don't think he felt that he'd have such an easy afternoon so far. I mean, obviously, we're not at half-time yet, and he's got to deal with this free kick now.
Palmer standing over it along with Enzo Fernandez. Palmer with his left, Fernandez with his right. It will be the captain who whips it in towards Chalobah, headed away well by Forest. Pieces will be picked up on this near side by Jesse Derry. Receives the ball back from Cucurella. 2 versus 2 at the moment. Nice back heel by Derry to find Cucurella. First time cross. Joao Pedro with a header on. It might fall here inside the area to Gusto, who's been pulled down surely. Referee says play can continue. Gusto shoots. It's saved by Sells. Surely Gusto was held back there, Mark.
Yeah, it looked like he was. It really did. I mean, Anthony Taylor was not far away from the action. I think he's waving as if, no, it's not. We'll see it again on the replay as the ball goes over. I mean, he is being held.
He was being pulled to the ground that time, Marlo Gusto. I'm just looking at the VAR monitor on the TV gantry away to our right. Chelsea continue to attack though. Joao Pedro, low ball in. Yates puts the ball behind for a corner, and it's going to be interesting here to see what Anthony Taylor says. I don't think he's stopping play.
No, I think he waves the play on. I don't think they think there's enough in there.
I mean, that looked a stonewall penalty from where we were up here.
Well, certainly wasn't a stonewall as the Nottingham Forest one.
Well,
but it was one that certainly I think deserved to look at.
Chelsea corner, final minute of the first half. Forest leading 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Fernandez with the delivery, and it goes. Sells comes, flaps at it, gets something on it, and it will be another Chelsea corner. They have played terribly for half an hour of this game, but they're certainly ending the first half the stronger of the two teams.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I think it's always inevitable. They're going to have moments in the game.
Just having a look at that foul on Gusto again. I mean, Bakwar's a lucky boy.
Yeah, I think you could argue that the way he's fallen.
Corner swung in by Chelsea towards Tosin. It might fall here for Derry. Takes it on his chest. He gets clattered. Referee says penalty. Chelsea have a penalty this time for a foul on Jesse Derry, who stayed down and looks hurt. But Chelsea,
I think he's out of it. It looks like he's actually unconscious. It's a coming together of heads.
He has not moved at all, Jesse Derry, since hitting the ground. Chelsea will restart this game from the penalty spot, but the medics on in a flash for him and one of the Nottingham Forest players as well.
I mean, he is moving now. He certainly was out. It looked like he was out for a couple of seconds. I mean, it was a big hit. I mean, it was a very brave effort to go in for a header. I mean, the referee has given a penalty. I mean, that was a big hit. Both players are down.
Yeah. And just understandably, a little bit of concern for the two players involved at the moment. TV haven't shown a replay either, just while we make sure that the two players are okay. Both sets of medics on in a flash, and the stretcher has been sent for very, very quickly here. So we're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 2. Chelsea have got a penalty. Mark Schwarzer.
What's telling is, obviously, the incident happens, the referee gives a penalty, there was a bit of oohs and ahs from the crowd, and then it went dead silence because everyone knew it was a really big coming together. I mean, let's hope they're both all right.
Well, again, Jesse Derry is still lying flat out inside the penalty area, receiving treatment from two medics. The crew were on with a stretcher very, very quickly as well. Zach Abbott, I think, is the Forest player involved. He's sitting up, but still some real concern here on what is a very, very big day for Jesse Derry, who, and he's going to go straight onto the stretcher, Mark. This is not good at all, and it is a very, very sad end to a very, very special day for him.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's an unfortunate incident. I mean, look, there's no malice in there whatsoever. Both are going for the ball. I think it looked like Jesse Derry got there just ahead of Zach Abbott, and then there's a coming together, and both players obviously flail on the ground, and it just looked like Jesse Derry was certainly a bit more worse aware. We can see Zach Abbott is now sitting up.
That's good.
And whereas Jesse Derry, they're obviously taking those extra precautions, aren't they? I mean, they're making sure that absolutely everything is okay with him. They're doing all the checks on him firstly before they decide how they're going to move him.
Well, the applause you can hear is from the Forest supporters in the shed end, because they've just seen Zach Abbott get back to his feet. He's looking very, very woozy as he walks in the team, but there's still real concern here for Jesse Derry, 18 years of age. First appearance in the Premier League. You noticed it straight away, Mark. I was looking at the referee pointed to the penalty spot, but you noticed straight away that he hit the ground and did not move, and hasn't really moved much since.
Yeah, they're coming together. You could see them just both go straight to the ground. Just the way that Jesse Derry landed just looked like he was unconscious as he hit the ground. And it did seem to come to pretty quickly afterwards. The medical staff were very quick. Some of the players around were very quick to react. And they're still on the pitch with him, and look, he's in the best possible position he can be for help, and hopefully nothing too serious.
So just to bring you up to date, just while the medical team continue work on the pitch, it's Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 2. Forest ahead inside 2 minutes, a 1-0 with a header off a backward cross, and then just inside 15, Forest awarded a penalty pulled by Gusto on a 1-0 as he tried to get on the end of another backward cross. Referee consulted VAR, they gave the penalty. Igor Jesus scored. Chelsea have seen Fernandez hit the post, we've seen Derry send a volley over, and now they've got a penalty for a foul on Jesse Derry. But there is still real concern here for the 18-year-old. I can see getting ready pitch side, Nico Williams is going to come on to replace Zach Abbott, who was also involved in that collision. So Abbott off, Williams on. There's a lot of activity in the Chelsea technical area as well. Liam Delap is getting ready to come on for the home team here, but it's going to be some time yet, just because there is still a lot of concern, as I keep saying, for the injured Chelsea youngster. Still to come today on BBC Radio 5 Live. Full commentary from the Scottish Premiership at 5:30. Hearts against Rangers at Tynecastle with Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis. You can hear the applause here for Jesse Derry as the medics try and help him onto a stretcher. Also applause for Williams, who comes on for Abbott, and for Liam Delap, who's standing by wearing shirt number 9 for the home team. Got the Monday Night Club at 7:30 with Mark Chapman. Half an hour later than usual, updates from Everton versus Man City into the Monday Night Club. Mark joined by Shay Given, Charlie Adam and Rory Smith. Champions League semi-final second leg commentary from the Emirates tomorrow. Arsenal against Atletico Madrid, those two tied at 1-1. Wednesday, second leg of Bayern PSG leading that 5-4. That should be a great watch Wednesday night for Chris Sutton and Conor McNamara. And then Thursday, Europa League semi-finals, Forest back in action, taking a 1-0 lead to Villa Park. Dion Dublin and Ian Dennis on duty with the commentary on Thursday night. But still, the medics continue to work, Mark, on Jesse Derry, and there is, as you can hear all around us, real concern for somebody who's become a very well-liked youngster very quickly here.
Yeah, I mean, look, these situations always look really intense and severe, and rightly so, because they're just taking absolutely every precaution to make sure that they cover all their bases. It was a big hit, there's no doubt about it. I believe he was unconscious at some stage. I hope he's just going to have a bit of a sore head. Let's hope everything is okay.
Yeah.
But they've got to go through this whole procedure of making sure that he's absolutely secure. They take him off and he goes and gets all the relevant checks to make sure that he's okay.
Well, just while the medics continue work, let's get an update from the Crucible World Snooker Championship final. Jamie Broughton.
And Sean Murphy has fought back in this match against Wu Yizha. Murphy trailed Yizha by 10 frames to 7 at the start of play, but he won 5 frames in a row with breaks of 76, 60 and 59, the highlight to go 12-10 up. Yizha then took the next with a 64 break to reduce the arrears to 12-11. 18 is the target to be crowned champion.
Applause here because Jesse Derry is now just being helped onto the stretcher. Just a reminder that when this game does get restarted, it will restart from the penalty spot. Chelsea with a penalty for a foul by Abbott on Derry, which understandably we've not seen a replay of, just because there's real concern here for Jesse Derry, and we just hope he's okay. Like you said, Mark, there's a lot of medical staff around him. He is in the best possible hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's always not a pretty picture to watch, and obviously there's a lot of concerns about his well-being, and let's hope everything is okay. But if it's going to happen, this is where it's going to happen in the best hands with the people around, and obviously getting the applause now as they lift him on lift the stretcher up and get ready to remove him from the pitch.
And the incident's happened right in front of the shed end. Left side of the 6 yards area, in front of those Forest supporters, all of whom are on their feet applauding Jesse Derry as well. What will this be like? Well, just listen to this. A standing ovation from everybody inside Stamford Bridge as Jesse Derry's Premier League debut is cut much shorter than he and everybody involved would have liked. We wish the youngster all the very best, and as soon as we've got any update on his condition, we will bring it to you here on 5 Live. And we've just now seen a replay of Abbott and Derry. It was the most forceful clash of heads, and you can understand why the medics have taken so long to make sure the Chelsea player is okay as he heads off down the tunnel on a stretcher. Chelsea with a penalty. Cole Palmer is going to take it, looking to make it 10 Premier League goals for the season and to get Chelsea back in it on the stroke of half-time. Palmer saved by the keeper Matt Sells, and it goes behind. Goal kick, brilliant save by Matt Sells, and Cole Palmer trots away with his head in his right hand. He squeezes his nose. He cannot believe it. Matt Sells, after a long wait, makes a big save.
Oh, it's a huge save, isn't it? I mean, it's always difficult. Such a long stopping player. I tell you what, he's a brilliant save. It's a good penalty. There's no qualms about it. It's a really good penalty, but an excellent save from Matt Sells. Goes full stretch to his right-hand side. Big right hand, full stretch. That is very good goalkeeping.
And you're very well placed to just talk about not just a big right hand, a strong right hand, because he caught that with some power, Cole Palmer.
He did, and his reaction from that as well. I mean, he gets his hand on it, full right hand, comes out into the sort of the right hand side of the 6 yard box, and he gets up. He manages to get up really quickly and close it down, because Cole Palmer was there very quickly, and so often you see a goalkeeper just dive in and take the striker out. There's another penalty, but he does so well in his recovery as well. Then Cole Palmer takes his touch and ends up taking it out for a goal kick, but brilliant save.
Well, for those people who are timekeeping, the official match clock says 56. The fourth official held up 5 minutes to be added on, but 5 minutes from when, who knows? We'll just wait until we hear the half-time whistle from referee Taylor. Chelsea have the ball on their right. They're 2-0 down. They've just missed a penalty, but they've just seen a young teammate leave the pitch on a stretcher following a horrific collision. I was just about to ask you this before the penalty was taken. Just what will it be like for those Chelsea players out there at the moment, Mark, because they're trying to get their team back in this at home, but at the same time there'll be so much concern as Joao Pedro puts in the cross, comes off him, goal kick. Mark.
Yeah, it's good defending from Nico Williams first and foremost. Joao Pedro tries to get past him, tries the cross, really good block, ricochets then off him onto Joao Pedro and out for a goal kick. It's tough, because you see it, as a player, the collision, how big it is. The players around would have felt the force, heard it, and you see that, you see your teammate on the floor, and he's not in a great state, and you're just hoping that everything is okay. And obviously you've got a game sort of play, and the time of which it takes to make sure that everything is okay, and he's looked after in the best possible way to going off the pitch, and then you've got a penalty. And I was going to say before the penalty was taken, this is a big moment because there's been such a long stoppage in play. It can often just play against you. And I have to say, like I said before in the commentary, I thought the penalty was a really good penalty. It was just a superb save.
Here come Chelsea again, long ball down the right. Gusto will give chase, but Morata will see that ball behind for a goal kick to be taken by Matt Sells. And understandably, there was a long wait while Derry received treatment for the goalkeeper there to maintain concentration when he's hardly done anything in the whole game. Just superb.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, he waited as well, didn't he? He waited the whole time. Didn't go early. Didn't give any indicator which way he was going to go. He was waiting for Cole Palmer to make the first move, and his reaction was absolutely brilliant.
John Southall's just pointed out to me, actually, 5.5 Premier League games now for Chelsea. No goals. They came close with that penalty, but still could not find the back of the net. Forest are looking to find it here for a third time as they move forwards down the right with Bakwa, who was just so key in the build-up to both goals. Nico Williams on to replace Abbott, who was also injured in that collision with Derry. He's on this near side, the right, wearing shirt number 3. Bakwa tries a flick. Forest don't want to get too clever little flicks like that. Still more than half the game to go. Bakwa to McAtee. Yates working hard as well. In the end, the ball goes out for a throw into Chelsea in their left-back area, and just looking down on the pitch and just feeling the atmosphere around Stamford Bridge following that collision, I think everybody could just do with a half-time break to just compose themselves, to gather their thoughts, and to hopefully get some kind of update on the injury to Jesse Derry.
Yeah, hopefully everything is okay. I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, the momentum of the game, it's taken the sting out of the game as well, which is understandable. There's concerns, but also the rhythm of the game has been disrupted. And of course for Chelsea, the missing of the penalty save by Matt Sells kind of deflates the stadium, the atmosphere even more.
There is the half-time whistle, boos from the home supporters, a huge roar though from the shed end because Nottingham Forest lead at Stamford Bridge by 2-0. A Wonyi with a header inside 2 minutes, Jesus with a penalty inside 15. Chelsea have hit the post, they've seen a penalty saved, but ultimately Mark Schwarzer have not done enough to have any kind of answer in this game so far.
Yeah, they haven't. No, they've been nowhere near good enough. I mean, they've had moments, they've had opportunities to get themselves, claw their way back in the game. The penalty opportunity was huge, but it didn't take it. Brilliant save from the goalkeeper, but a poor first half performance from Chelsea.
There's a Chelsea supporter standing in front of us here at the top of the main stand who's just looked at us and puffed out both of his cheeks, and that kind of sums up the atmosphere around the home sections of Stamford Bridge. Half-time, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 2.
Lee Blakeman, thank you very much. You're listening to 5 Live. Gordon Smart here. Mark Schwartz is still with us. Mark, is clearly a sad moment for a young player who's making an impressive debut, wasn't he? He had a really lively first 40 minutes.
No, he looked good. Every time he got the ball, he was confident. He looked to try and take on his opponent. If not, he laid it off. He played with real maturity. Had a couple of half chances. Every little kind of incident in the game where maybe Chelsea had a half a chance sort of came down this left-hand side. And he showed real desire. I mean, no fear as well to go in for the ball that bounced up in the 18-yard box. And that's where the incident actually occurred. And I mean, there was no malice. It was just two players desperately trying to win the ball. And unfortunately for Sean Derry, it looks like he's come off worse.
Yeah, if you are just joining us, Jesse Derry making his debut for Chelsea. Zach Abbott, the Nottingham Forest defender, clash of heads, a serious clash of heads, and he has been taken off. Mark, on the penalty though, to get the game going again, Cole Palmer had a long wait, but he is renowned, isn't he, for keeping his calm and keeping his cool head. But some penalties are saved, some are missed. Where did that one land?
Look, I think it was a good penalty. I thought it was a very, very good penalty. I just think Matt Sells excelled. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant save. I mean, I thought his reaction was brilliant. He didn't go early. He made it up to Cole Palmer to make the first move. Palmer, I think, picked a really good spot, hit really good force on the ball. I think just the reaction from Matt Sells was exceptional.
Yeah, we were talking about changes before the game, weren't we, Mark? But I tell you, Pereira must be vindicated for that, because they started really well and scored a goal very early on.
They did, and I was concerned before the game, making 8 changes to your side, a side that have been really in really good form, and then obviously the result yesterday in terms of Forest winning puts you under pressure more for Premier League survival, which is obviously has to be of utmost importance to Nottingham Forest, and then still to go ahead and make those 8 changes. Look, who am I to judge it? But Pereira's done obviously a great job so far. They're 2-0 up, and they've deserved to be 2-0 up. And they've put in a really good first 45 minutes here at Stamford Bridge. It's
always tough for an interim manager making big speeches, but this is a half-time talk and a half, isn't it, for McFarlane?
It is, yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know, he's probably going there scratching. We start so badly. Last weekend against Leeds, they started with a lot more intensity. They were really up for it. Today, they just seemed a little bit off it. They didn't really have the intensity, the aggression. They were too slow. They were second best to everything. And of course, Nottingham Forest started really, really well and took their chances. There was a brilliant cross from Bakwa from the right-hand side, getting past Kukurea, and then Awani in the middle. I mean, it's a really good header, a really good floated ball into him, and he's just out-jumped everyone, and he guides it back into the back of the net, and it was a brilliant header.
A lot happening in the first half. Mark Schwarzer, thank you very much. Lee Blakeman will come back to you shortly. It's only the second time Cole Palmer's missed a penalty for Chelsea. Nothing going their way today. Another interesting stat for you. Nottingham Forest are unbeaten in every Premier League match in which they've opened the scoring. Forest's first goal, by the way, in this game today, 98 seconds. Right, let's get the news and sport now. Dan Maudsley is here.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you so much. The US military says its warships have helped 2 American-flagged vessels to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian officials said they'd fired warning shots as a US destroyer entered the shipping route. US Central Command said later that none of its vessels had been hit. Iran's ability to blockade the strait has been a continued source of frustration for the US and its allies. Tom Sharp is a retired Royal Navy commander.
For the strait to be open, for freedom of navigation to be restored fully to pre-war levels, it requires Iran to not be shooting. And saying that there's a safe transit passage somewhere south of in Omani waters doesn't do that. It doesn't create those conditions.
Just one line to bring you on the Middle East that's just coming to us on the Reuters news agency, which is reporting that the United Arab Emirates says its air defence systems are currently responding to a missile threat. Oil prices have just increased by $4 a barrel on the futures market on that news, so we will keep an eye on that report. Sir Keir Starmer says the benefit of joining a £78 billion loan for Ukraine far outweighs the costs. He's been speaking at a gathering of European leaders in Armenia to discuss the coordinated approach to security. The EU Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, said Europe should increase its military capabilities by speeding up production.
We have to step up our military capabilities to be able to defend and protect ourselves. There is a vast amount of money available for the investment. Now we really have to step up and speed up the production process for military capabilities.
The health authorities in Cape Verde have refused to allow a cruise ship with a suspected deadly hantavirus outbreak to dock. The ship had been seeking permission to evacuate 2 sick passengers. 3 people have died and 1 British national is being treated in hospital in South Africa after being airlifted. And Princess Eugenie is expecting her 3rd child with her husband, Jack Brooksbank. The pair already have 2 boys, aged 5 and 2. Buckingham Palace said the King was delighted at the news. Warner has the travel.
Thanks very much, Dan. So if we go first to Northumberland with the A1. So both directions have been closed to deal with an accident at South Charlton through to Alnwick North Junction. The A1 Western Bypass, Newcastle Western Bypass northbound. There's a breakdown in one of the lanes at 77 at Kenton Bar Roundabout. The M6 in Lancashire at the Broughton Interchange. Holiday queues coming back now and heading away from the coast. And the M55 joining the M6, busy there as well at Junction 32. M5 in Somerset, really slow for you at 24 Bridgewater South. Then up again is towards Bridge Bridgewater and on to Burnham-on-Sea at Junction 22 and Weston-super-Mare. So again, coming back from the coast, those M5 northbound queues are there. The M60 over Barton Bridge queuing towards 12. That's at the Eccles interchange. The M56 is queuing at the Chester end. Again, it's return traffic. You've got roadworks there as well. There was a breakdown on the M40 in Warwickshire. I'm hearing now the M11 Junction 5 at Loughton looking slow because of an accident and recovery heading down towards the North Circular Road at Woodford at Junction 4. And the M25 11 at Chertsey, an accident in one of the lanes causing delays. And the Dartford Tunnel queue still there, the M25 anti-clockwise. That's heading towards 1A because of repairs. Orna Merchant, 5 Live Travel.
Europe's elite club competition.
The Champions League on BBC Radio 5 Live. Tomorrow at 8.
Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid.
Alvarez, right-footed. Oh, that's a super penalty to make it 1-1.
And on Wednesday at 8.
Bayern Munich versus PSG.
We had chances, a lot of chances. We have still time to score those chances. There's more to come.
5 Live Sports.
The Champions League semi-finals.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sports
with Gordon Smart.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Thank you very much, Orna Merchant, for the travel there, and Dan Maudsley for the news. Gordon Smart here with 5 Live Sport. A very busy afternoon. It's half-time at the moment. Nottingham Forest leading 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. The game slightly delayed after a terrible crash of heads between Zach Abbott, the Nottingham Forest defender, and Jesse Derry making his debut, young 19-year-old player making his debut for Chelsea this afternoon. We will be back with Lee Blakeman and Mark Schwarzer shortly. Now, from 5:30pm, we will be heading north of the border to the Scottish capital. Hearts hosting Rangers at Tynecastle. It's a massive game for the Scottish Premiership title race, which is reaching boiling point. Our senior football reporter, Ian Dennis, will be commentating on this one, and he joins us now. Good afternoon, Ian.
Good afternoon, Gordon. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Great to have you on this afternoon. I know you've made the pilgrimage north a few times this season to test the temperature of the football north of the border, and it must have been good, Ian, for you to cover that and compare it to the football down south. How has it been for you as a commentator?
Well, indeed, the last time I was up doing it was between these two sides when they met at Valentine's weekend, and they served up an absolute treat at Ibrox, where Rangers beat Hearts by 4-2, but it was a thrilling game. It was frantic. It was played on a really wet afternoon in Glasgow. It was 2-2 at half time, and then Schmidt completed his hat-trick in the second half, and Rangers won by 4-2. But the significance, obviously, about today's game is the fact that I think it will determine whether it's going to be a 3-horse title race with 3 games left to play, or whether they're going to go down to just 2 in Hearts and Celtic. So the pressure's on Rangers to get the win, I think, at Tynecastle.
The permutations are fascinating. I've been trying to explain it to so many neutrals, Ian, but goal difference counts here as well, and these have been high scoring ties between the two teams you'll see this afternoon. So I don't want to jinx it, but there's a lot at stake.
There is a lot at stake, yeah. You've got the best team with the best home record in the Scottish Premiership, Hearts, who are unbeaten in 22 games in all competition. They're looking to actually go undefeated in a league campaign for the first time since it switched to what would be a 38-game season in Scotland. And then you've got Rangers with the best away record, who had that really potentially damaging defeat at home to Motherwell, which was their first loss in 17 league games. So they're going to have to bounce back. So there's a lot riding on it. And in between, you've got Celtic, who are currently, with their win yesterday against Hibs, 4 goals inferior to Hearts on goal difference. So they'll be hoping that Rangers might be able to do them a favour, bearing in mind that you've got the Old Firm next weekend at Celtic Park, and then Celtic have still got to be at home to Hearts on the last day of the season, which could be an absolute classic on the 16th of May at Celtic Park, because that would, I mean, we saw that titanic clash between Rochdale and York in the National League. And then obviously in the top flight in England, you can recall Liverpool-Arsenal in 1989. But Hearts-Celtic could still be going toe-to-toe come that final day. So there's so much riding on it. And I think there'll be many twists and turns even before we get to that stage.
It's such a confusing time for football fans in Scotland, because yesterday Hibs fans might have wanted Celtic to win. And today, dare I say this, but Celtic fans might want Rangers to win today, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
Yeah, well, it is, because there's Rangers are 4 points behind, and I think a defeat would leave them 7 points adrift of Hearts with 3 to play. A draw, well, there'll be 4 off with 3 left. I mean, I do think that Rangers have got to win this game. But Hearts have been so strong at home. You know, they're unbeaten at home in this season. They've won 15, they've drawn 5. It's going to be a really, really good game, and it's a lovely afternoon or early evening here in the Scottish capital. There's a lot of blue sky, the sun's shining. It's a sellout. It's eagerly awaited. It's going to be a cracking atmosphere, and I'm sure that we'll get an equally good game to boot too.
Set up perfectly, Ian Dennis. Really looking forward to hearing that this afternoon. Pat Nevin by your side for that game. Ian Dennis will be with us after the game at Stamford Bridge. Right now though, let's get caught up on the snooker. Back at the Crucible, the Snooker World Championship final continues. It's been a difficult session for the young upstart Wu Yuza, but tell you what, the first frames have not gone his way, Jamie, have they?
No, this has been a close, compelling contest, Gordon. Sean Murphy fought back from 10-7 down against Wu Yuza to lead 12-10, but Wu Yuza was frozen out for the sort of opening part of this session, but he slowly worked his way back into the match. He won the next 2 frames with breaks of 64 and 46. The level proceedings at 12 all, and we're now playing the last frame of this session. So this is a big one, and Yuza's at the table with a good chance. He's on a break of 41, so he could be leading 13-12 going into the evening session tonight, when 18 is the target for victory.
He's such a young man, but he must have learned a lot from the semi-final, because I believe he was 5 frames behind at one point there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly doesn't seem to be fazed by anything that's thrown at him, whether it's, having to come through safety battles, whether it's making big centuries, whether it's players, really being, playing a tactical game against him. He's answered all the questions so far, and Sean Murphy, if he does end up trailing at the end of this session, will be annoyed that he wasn't able to keep that lead.
How big a challenge is this for him, this particular spell of the game, do you think?
Well, it's a big moment, isn't it? And Wu Yuza is only 22. He's trying to become, obviously, the second youngest player to do this. But it could be, of course, the start of a Chinese domination of this tournament. We saw Zhao Jingtong win last year. Wu Yuza is sort of the next megastar coming through now. So it's going to be interesting to see how he copes with it tonight. If he has the lead and he gets to close to the winning line, can he get over the winning line? Because the pressure of the Crucible, we've seen how intense that can be. Obviously, we saw the match didn't with Mark Allen when he had a chance to win and missed the black off its spot. So it'll be interesting to see if Wu Yuza does feel the pressure if he gets close tonight.
Jamie Broughton, thank you very much indeed. Sean Murphy 12 frames and Wu Yuza on 12 as well. It's fascinating stuff at the Crucible. We'll keep you updated throughout the afternoon. We're going to go back now to Stamford Bridge. Nottingham Forest 2-0 up. An incredible start from Nottingham Forest. We'll go back to Lee Blakeman shortly. But Mark Schwarzer, just before we get back into the action here, that must have been a big team talk. A few changes as well, but by the looks of things.
Yeah, it was. It had to be a big team talk. There was a lot of things that weren't right in that first 45 minutes from Chelsea. First and foremost, you have to question the desire, because it just wasn't there. I mean, I know you don't actively go out there not wanting to try. Well, I don't believe you do. But it just was way below par. It was nothing like they did last weekend against Leeds United in the FA Cup semi-final. So it has to be a vast improvement in the second half.
Yeah, Chelsea certainly looked like they had a bit of a struggle in midfield in the first half, but a lot of changes happening. So Lee Blakeman, how does it look? A few people coming on, a few going off there.
Forest are making 3 changes at half-time, Gordon. Thank you very much. Igor Jesus, Nicolas Dominguez and Jair Cunha, the 3 to make way for Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White and Nikola Milenkovic. A big Chelsea change, because making his first appearance of the season, his first appearance since the Club World Cup final actually, Levi Colwill comes on following that anterior cruciate ligament injury which has kept him out for the season. He replaces Tosin at centre-half, Mark Schwarzer at half-time. So a special moment for Levi Colwill, back in the thick of the action, but Forest changing 3.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by Forest making so many changes so early on.
Chelsea on the attack straight away down the left, but that time Delap runs out of space and it will be a goal kick to Forest.
Considering they've got the semi-final on Thursday, they're up 2-0 at the moment. Maybe another 20 minutes or so before they'd look to make those changes. However, what am I to know? The manager's got his plans, and it seems to be working very well for them so far.
It was one of those where you think, if you were resting 8 players coming into this game, well, you're leading 2-0. What's the issue? But Vitor Pereira is the head coach, and we are not.
Yeah, it just falls out the norm, right? Yeah, because you're bringing on players that you're thinking, right, they're going to be very much involved on Thursday. So why bring him on now for 45 minutes?
So Gibbs White, Anderson and Milenkovic all on. Jair Cunha, Igor Jesus and Nicolas Dominguez off. We already had that one change at the end of the first half. Nico Williams coming on for Forest to replace the injured Zach Abbott. Chelsea then bringing on Levi Colwill, taking off Tosin, and of course Jesse Derry taken to hospital with that injury following a serious collision at the end of the first half, end of his Premier League debut. We have received word at half-time that he is conscious, Jesse Derry, on his way to hospital, and his dad Sean is with him. So we wish Jesse and the Derry family all the very best after his debut was cut short at the end of the first half here in West London. 2 minutes gone in the second half. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 2. I'll run through the two lineups for you in the next few minutes. In fact, we've got a break in play now, actually. So Chelsea go with Robert Sanchez in goal, Gusto, Shalabar, Colwill and Cucurella the back four. Then it's Lavia and Caicedo. Then Palmer, Joao Pedro and Fernandez with Delap as the main striker. Forest have the ball with Gibbs White on their right, uses the full width of the pitch, and then Forest go back to Milenkovic inside the Forest half. 5 Live Sport, bank holiday Monday afternoon. The ball is with Luca Netz in the left back area for Nottingham Forest. I was just about to say at the start of the half, actually, if Chelsea start the second half in the way they started the first, they could be in trouble. They've certainly got a little bit more about them going forwards, look a little bit more threatening, but that's not really saying much as they move forwards down the left. Joao Pedro trying to get on the end of a through ball, but Forest tidy up and go all the way back to goalkeeper wearing all yellow Matt Sells, who made that big save from the penalty spot at the end of the first half to deny Cole Palmer. That's a foul by Lavia on McAtee, and Forest will have a free kick in the centre circle.
Yeah, I mean, surely they couldn't have started as bad as they did in that first 10 minutes or so, Chelsea, or lacklustre more than anything else. They've had a bit more energy in the start of this second half. Yes, changes once again for Forest, not only to the starting lineup to begin with, but now another 3 at half-time, which you would think actually makes them a little bit better than they were in the first 45 minutes.
Well, Forest on the attack here with McAtee. Ball to the edge of the area. Gibbs White was waiting to pounce straight away, but he was closed down very quickly. Forest win it back in the midfield, though, with Elliot Anderson. First time ball goes past McAtee, goes past Awoniyi, and it will be a throw into Chelsea in their right back area. Offside flag had gone up anyway.
Yeah, I think it was Awoniyi in the offside position as that ball gets played through Elliot Anderson. Morgan Gibbs White, he had a really good chance there. If he gets his first touch right, there is an opportunity to have a quick touch and have a shot on goal, and he's actually had a bit of space to do so. His first touch let him down and allowed Levi Colwill to jump in and make the clearance.
That's a foul by Netz on Palmer just inside the Chelsea half, and it will be a free kick to the home team. Morgan Gibbs White's numbers over the last month frightening. 5 goals in his last 4 games across the season, 16 in all competitions, 13 of those in the Premier League, along with 3 assists in the top flight as well. No wonder he's being linked with just about every big club going, but Forest fans will be keen to point out they're in a European semi-final as well. Why go anywhere else?
Yeah, it's true. Look, I mean, they've got obviously big plans. They've secured him to a big long-term contract. They've got all the cards, but sometimes if there's a big enough offer comes in.
Chelsea playing a card down the right here with Gusto. In goes the cross. Forest with no answers to it. Falls to Cucurella over on the far side. Flag stays down. Cucurella with the cross towards Lavia. And now Gusto, urged to shoot, thinks better of it. Crosses instead. Blocked by Netz. Chelsea have their first corner of the second half.
Yeah, better start from Chelsea. More intensity. Better movement off the ball. Players making runs into the box. More options on this occasion. So certainly these opening couple of minutes of the second half has been more positive.
He's been impressive at left back today for Forest, wearing number 25, Luca Netz, only his 4th Forest appearance, joined from Borussia Mönchengladbach at the beginning of February. Fernandez with a corner here across the 6-yard line, cleared to Cucurella, who hits it on the volley, and that nearly landed in Fulham.
Yeah, it was a poor attempt, but I tell you what, it was a difficult one, wasn't it? As it came to the edge of the box, on the half volley, under pressure. I think he had half an eye on watching the Nottingham Forest player backward come out to him to try and close him down.
So Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 2, 5.5 minutes gone in the second half, and it's Forest on the attack here, and they've got loads of space as well. Gibbs White works the ball out to the right to Bakwa, who was so dangerous on the Forest right in the first half, tried to find himself half a yard there, but was closed down quickly by Cucurella. Forest settled for the throw to be taken by Nico Williams on as a substitute for Abbott at the end of the first half. So he's going to send in a long throw here, level with the edge of the penalty area. He's going to go backwards actually and finds half-time substitute Elliot Anderson in the midfield. And now nets. Forest just 4 wins in a row coming into today in all competitions, unbeaten in 9, 1 defeat in 11, unbeaten in 6 in the Premier League. Their numbers under Vitor Pereira just superb, and they could get better here. Gibbs White into the area, ball across, and it's 3-0! Tayo Awoniyi gets his second of the game, Forest's third of the afternoon. Gibbs White with the assist, and Nottingham Forest are in dreamland at Stamford Bridge. They're charging towards Premier League safety. Listen to this for a scoreline: Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 3.
Well, absolutely brilliant from Nottingham Forest. I tell you what, the ball starts from Elliot Anderson. That's twice in very quick succession. He's played an absolute superb ball, but there is a question mark as to whether Awoniyi is on the onside position. I actually had my doubts when the ball came across. He looks for me like he's slightly offside. We'll see it now on the replay. Yeah, he's just straight offside. This is not going to count, and Chelsea are very, very lucky. But Elliot Anderson's ball was absolutely phenomenal to Morgan Gibbs-White. He takes his touch. He's got unbelievable pace down that right-hand side. His cross is exceptional. And unfortunately for Nottingham Forest, I believe this is going to be ruled out. And when he's just straight offside. But otherwise, it would have been an unbelievable goal.
If you're a commentator purist, you might have thought I paused for half a second to allow the crowd to roar. I didn't actually. I paused to see if the flag was going to go up. It didn't, but looking at the VAR, it's bang to rights that this is going to get chalked off, although the VAR taking their time.
Wow.
And it's been given. No offside. Well, we're all looking at each other, the 4 of us on the gantry here. The goal stands, no offside offence. Awoniyi looked a good half a yard ahead of Gibbs-White as the ball was played. It's not being given, and Nottingham Forest lead at Stamford Bridge by 3-0.
I mean, maybe the frame that we saw was one slightly ahead. I mean, so tight. Look, we're going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I mean, yeah, we're seeing it now on the replay. It says that he is onside, and it's very, very, very close. Wow.
I mean, they say a fingernail sometimes. It's not even a fingernail. That is as tight as they come. But with the lines on the pitch, I mean, from the naked eye, he looked about half a yard off.
Yeah, but we are on an angle where we're standing as well. So
yeah.
And then looking at the replay, again, like I said, it depends on what frame it held it at on the replay on the TV screen. It wasn't the VAR making that call on the screen that we saw. So look, got to go with it, and it was a brilliant team goal.
And Nottingham Forest supporters in the shed end could not care less about those lines. They are having a great bank holiday Monday afternoon out in West London, and it's just got even better. 9 minutes gone in the second half. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 3. They made a brilliant start to the first half, and they've made a flying start to the second.
They have, and you can see there are quite a few Chelsea fans who have already left after that third goal went in. Rightly so, the team has just been nowhere near good enough today.
And Forest are on the attack with McAtee down the left, and they're looking to make it 4. They got 4 against Burnley, they got 5 at Sunderland, they've got 3 at Chelsea. The goals flowing out of this Forest team, flowing through this Forest team. 12 and counting in less than 3 top-flight games. Whatever Vitor Pereira has said, whatever he and his team have done, they are working wonders with this Nottingham Forest group of players.
And certainly the substitutions at half-time. Gibbs-White, Anderson coming on, it makes them stronger. They're 2-0 up at half-time. You bring on those 2 players who have been absolutely brilliant for them since they've arrived at the club, and they're even better in this second half.
Well, Awoniyi, coming into this game, had got 2 all season. He's now got 2 in this match, and he's looking to take home the match ball if he can get another. Chelsea coming forwards down the left with Fernandes, challenged, wins a throw, takes it quickly, gives it to João Pedro, and this has been Forest's story all day, right? João Pedro received the ball from that throw with Forest leading 3-0, and he got 4 red shirts around him in a flash.
Their work rate's been exceptional.
Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea can certainly have a look at that and learn from it. Nottingham Forest have been relentless. Every time Chelsea player gets the ball, there is a Nottingham Forest player right on his heels, not making it ever easy for them, letting them know they're always there, putting them under pressure. Any slight bad touch, they're on them, they're dispossessing them, and it's been a story of the game so far.
And if that sums up Nottingham Forest's game this afternoon, what we've just seen there from Liam Delap sums up Chelsea's. Ball down the right, and his first touch was a tackle, went straight behind, and it's a goal kick to Forest. Long faces just being shown on the screens here of Chelsea supporters and the 3 home sections, which are in complete silence. The noise you can hear is coming from our left, from the shed end. Forest supporters haven't sat down, haven't stopped singing all day. Awoniyi gave them the lead on 2. Jesus made it 2 on 15, and then Awoniyi on 52, making it 3 as Chelsea get ready to bring on Andre Santos as their 3rd change. And it looks like it's going to be Romeo Lavia to give way in the midfield. Here's Caicedo at the moment in the midfield. Fernandes, ball to the left. Cucurella, first time he's found space all day, sends it across. And the cheers will tell you that was so deep, it's not even bounced before going out for a throw. You can hear the boos. The Chelsea supporters at the moment on their way to a 6th league defeat in a row without scoring a goal. It's never happened in their history. Really, really dark days, Mark, that don't show any sign of ending or changing anytime soon.
No, it's been a really disappointing performance. Lack of intensity, lack of energy, organisation. Completely opposite of what we saw last weekend against Leeds United in the semi-final of the FA Cup. But you could say, well, you raise yourself for a FA Cup semi-final. That's, that does it for you. Today's performance is just takes you back a couple of steps, and there's no surprise that they're on this run with a performance like this.
Forest have the ball on the halfway line. The Forest supporters having a party. 6 points clear of the bottom 3 they will go if things stay as they are. We're not at the hour mark yet, but if anybody's going to score another goal in this game, it will be Forest. And Anderson now has picked out Gibbs-White, who's away down the centre. Awoniyi's making the run. Instead he goes to the right to Bakwa, who's got 3 to aim for in the middle. Bakwa on his left foot, tees it up for McAtee, who can't get the shot away first time, can second time, blocked by Shalabar, appeals for handball, waved away by Anthony Taylor, and the ball's going to be dribbled clear by Palmer, who finally beats the man for the first time all day. Loose ball falls to Caicedo in the midfield, and now Gusto, and now can Chelsea show some spirit, show some fight to try and mount a counter. Gusto, right side of the area to João Pedro. Palmer on the edge, left-footed cross, unmarked back post, Fernandes waiting, brilliant clearance away, throwing himself at the ball was Nico Williams.
Yeah, he does really well, Nico Williams. For a minute there, you thought that he'd actually been done by the ball, the delivery, but he adjusted really well, and there was a full diving header just to take the ball off Fernandes as he was lining up to try and let loose with a strike on goal. So really good defending.
Chelsea wide on their left, ticking towards the hour mark here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Final ball again from Chelsea as soon as they get to the final third of the pitch. I don't want to be as disrespectful as to say they haven't got a clue, but they certainly haven't had today and for the last 5 Premier League games. Ryan Yates throws himself at the ball in the midfield, was pushed in the back by João Pedro, who has a word with the Forest captain. He just laughs, he's not bothered. His side lead 3-0, Ryan Yates.
Yeah, it's just, you can see João Pedro, he's out of position. Yates is ahead of him. Yates is on his front foot, he's attacking the ball. João Pedro is just flat-footed, and that's why he fouls him, because he knows he's got no chance of winning the ball.
If you think back to the reverse fixture between these two teams in October, it ended 3-0 at the City Ground. I did the game that Saturday lunchtime. Ended 3-0 in Chelsea's favour, and Ange Postecoglou went after the final whistle, and Forest go long again here. Gibbs-White's been taken out by Sanchez. The referee's given the decision the other way, much to the annoyance of the Forest supporters behind that goal, and both players have stayed down here. Goalkeeper Sanchez and Morgan Gibbs-White and not for the first time here, both sets of medical teams are on the pitch in a hurry.
I don't think it's a free kick. They've both gone for the ball, and Morgan Gibbs-White doesn't collide. I see Sanchez is the one that collides with Morgan Gibbs-White. I'm not so sure that's the right decision. I think they're both okay.
Yeah, the stretcher's come on as a precaution just because of what we saw earlier with Jesse Derry.
I mean, Sanchez is up on his haunches, so I think he's okay. I think he's absolutely fine. I think he's not sure which way the free kick's gone. That's why he stayed down.
Well, we've not seen a replay up here yet because a bit like earlier on, I think the director just wants to make sure that everybody's okay because Morgan Gibbs-White looks to be in some discomfort. It was his assist for the third goal, tapped in by Awoniyi at the back post. Some concerned Forest faces on the bench, and Chris Wood is standing by, the hero on Thursday, and you just wonder if Vitor Pereira, Mark Schwarzer, is thinking, without an update on Gibbs-White, I am taking no chances here at all ahead of Villa Park this coming Thursday.
Yeah, look, I think he'll wait, he'll listen to what his medical staff tell him. I think it's, from what I saw, was that Sanchez, as he comes out, Gibbs-White, the ball holds up a little bit, Sanchez comes out, he gets his hands on the end of it, and his hands end up hitting Gibbs-White in the face. So, I mean, he's on his haunches as well, Gibbs-White. I mean, they are looking at it. I mean, if he was really bad, he'd be lying on his back, and maybe, I don't know if it didn't seem as bad.
Well, the medical teams both still on the pitch at the moment here, so some lengthy treatment being administered this time to Morgan Gibbs-White. As we say, Chris Wood standing by just to the left of halfway line on this near side.
It looks like Sanchez has got a cut on his head, so they're holding. Yeah, I mean, you see Caicedo is actually indicating towards substitution, so that means I mean, I'm not sure if the manager's going to listen to one of the players ahead of the medical staff. I doubt it.
Well, we've just gone past the hour mark here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 3. Just the start of a massive day of football on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. This bank holiday Monday, Hearts against Rangers to come at 5:30 with Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis from the Scottish Premiership at Tynecastle, and then 7:30 reaction to it all with Mark Chapman and the team on the Monday Night Club. Updates into that of Everton against Manchester City. Rory Smith, Charlie Adam and Shay Given on the panel with Mark later. I think Morgan Gibbs-White is slowly being helped to his feet, but not for the first time. A very worrying looking collision involving two players in that same penalty area.
Yeah, you can see Robert Sanchez, he's got a bandage around his head now, so he's obviously had a collision there.
And blood on his nose as well, Sanchez. Yeah, he's got a white bandage, Terry Butcher-esque, just going around his head, but it looks like his race maybe run, the goalkeeper here, because I can see Philip Jorgensen standing by. Gibbs-White has also got a Terry Butcher-style bandage being applied to his head. You just look at the fact that Forest have made 4 changes. You just wonder how keen, with probably including stoppage time, half an hour still to play here, Vitor Pereira will be to use his 5th and final change already.
Yeah, well, it really depends on how injured Morgan Gibbs-White is and what risk he wants to take. If he's okay to continue, who knows? I mean,
well, he's being strapped up, as I say, Morgan Gibbs-White, but Chris Wood is not sitting down at the moment. He's standing, hands on his hips, waiting to come on. Gibbs-White's on his feet, which is good news.
It looks like he's coming off as well. They've both got bandages around their head, Robert Sanchez and Morgan Gibbs-White. Obviously sustained head injuries.
Right, well, Sanchez is definitely coming off.
Yeah, it's the right decision, take both of them off.
So Philip Jorgensen is going to come on here for just his 4th Premier League appearance of the season. City and Villa away, plus United away as an early substitute, following Sanchez's sending off back in September. So another change apiece here. Chris Wood is going to take the place of Morgan Gibbs-White, and Philip Jorgensen is going to replace Robert Sanchez with 25 minutes to go, plus you would imagine quite a lot of stoppage time. Gibbs-White lasting less than 20 minutes And that will just be one note of concern for those Forest supporters as they just think about the second leg of that semi-final on Thursday, Mark.
Well, that was the question I was asking, bringing him on at half-time.
Yeah.
It's just, it was surprising, really surprising. You're 2-0 up and you've got a major semi-final on, probably the big reason why you didn't start him, but then you bring him on at half-time. I'm just quite a bit surprised by that decision.
Well, the hero of the Thursday just gone is on as well. Chris Wood got the only goal of the night from the penalty spot. He replaces Gibbs White, and Philip Jorgensen, wearing his all-black kit with shirt number 12 on, takes the place of Robert Sanchez with 25 minutes to go plus stoppage time at Stamford Bridge. It's 5 Live Sport on a bank holiday Monday afternoon, available via the BBC Sounds app as well. One more Premier League game to come after this one. I mentioned it a few moments ago, updates of it. Everton against Manchester City into the Monday Night Club tonight. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. Mark Chapman on air from 7:30. And the game is now back underway following the second lengthy stoppage of it here in West London. Chelsea have the ball with Caicedo inside their own half. And what will happen next in this quite unbelievable game? Long ball forwards for Chelsea. Delap pulled it back. Palmer was running onto it. Forest again, as they have done all day, with the answers defensively, and that's surely a foul on Bakwa. It is. Forest will have a free kick inside their own half, and their mission is simple now. They've made all 5 changes, protect those 3 goals that they've managed to get.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be sitting back and just trying to protect it either. I think they'll continue to play their game because Chelsea's allowing it. There's going to be gaps. Chelsea's going to push players forward. They're going to continue to look to try and put pressure on Chelsea and try and get a fourth.
Wood to Bakwa, wide on the right. Both teams, we're just being told, have used a concussion sub today, so Vitor Pereira may well have another option at his disposal, actually. So yeah, we'll just wait and see if he needs one later in this game. Here Forest have been awarded a free kick for a foul over on the far side, and an opportunity. You'll know what it's like coming on as the goalkeeper when you've been on the bench. Opportunity to put a cold Jorgensen under some pressure.
Yep, get that ball into that 6-yard area, right on the edge of it. Give him a ball to tempt him and see what he does. It's so difficult to come off the bench in these sort of circumstances. That judgment of those balls in, you're not in a rhythm. You know, you've come in cold. That was where you're going to put him a bit under pressure now and see how he deals with it.
Free kick, Forest, 30 yards out on the right. It's swung in by Anderson, headed away by Shalabar. Pieces will be picked up on the lip of the centre circle by Luca Netz, who's clattered by Delap as Chelsea try and get downfield in a hurry. Forest play a long ball down the right. Nico Williams will give chase. Too much on that, and Jorgensen's first touch is an easy claim, left side of his 6 yards area. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 3 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. The ball's with Chelsea inside their own half at the moment. Chelsea not lost 6 Premier League games in a row since November 1993. That is what they are staring at here. Nottingham Forest, I mentioned it earlier, 12 goals in their less than 3 previous Premier League games, including this one. Incredible, with the 5 at Sunderland. I was at the Burnley home game when they won 4-1. Morgan Gibbs-White with that brilliant hat-trick. The pick of the bunch, that header for the 3rd. Here Chelsea come forwards. Goalkeeper Sells comes a long way out of his area left side, does the wise thing, puts the ball out into touch for a throw, which Chelsea are looking to take quickly with gusto. He goes back down the line to Andre Santos. 20 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge. You feel like saying, this is Chelsea Football Club at home. Yes, they're 3-0 down. Can Chelsea mount any kind of fight back? The way they've played, it just feels like such a silly question, but it is football. It is the Premier League, Mark. You never know, but that would be asking for a lot given what we've seen. Yeah,
that's real character. You need to have real character in the side to be able to do that. And the questions are, has this team got that? I mean, we've seen it over the last couple of weeks. That has certainly come into question. Determination, approach, desire, and you just don't know which team's going to turn up.
Ball infield, and here's Andre Santos, tries to get the shot away again. Forest players on the Chelsea players, in a flash. Forest try and get it back with Bakwa over on the far side. They lose it and Chelsea have it back in the midfield. Fernandez to Caicedo to Cucurella, takes the ball to the byline. First time cross is blocked by Anderson, who's been, I mean, he's always excellent, Elliot Anderson, but he's been brilliant since coming on at half time.
Yeah, he has been. Yeah, he's been, I mean, he's on the ball, his vision, his passing has been exceptional since he's come on, and obviously his work rate, he's just been brilliant. I mean, it's something that you kind of look at this Chelsea side and you think, well, if some of those players put in the same effort as Elliot Anderson has since he's come on, they'd be in a far better position than they are right now.
If you were a Chelsea fan, what would be going through your mind at the moment, bearing in mind it's before the 9 o'clock watershed?
Look, I spoke to quite a few, even my short sort of walk up from Fulham Broadway tube stop to here, and everybody's the same. Every single person I come across who stopped me and asked and talked about it was, what do you think today? And I went, I'm not sure which team's going to turn up. And they said, exactly, we don't know either. Yeah. And it's frustrating, and it's they feel completely disengaged, disappointed, kind of lost for words as to what's happened to this team.
They beat Leeds last weekend in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. Before that, their previous win was April the 4th, 7-0 here against the side just relegated from League One, Port Vale. Before that, they won 4-2 at Wrexham on the 7th of March. And then before that, they won 4-1 at Aston Villa, midweek Premier League round of fixtures. That was the last time that they won a Premier League game of football. And you wouldn't have seen this coming. I did the commentary that night at Villa Park. They were excellent. As Chelsea play a ball in here, Cucurella, unmarked, far side, ball across, João Pedro, good save, rebound goes in! Rebound goes in and Chelsea are back in it, appeals for offside, flag stays down, ball across from Cucurella, João Pedro denied with his first opportunity, buried the second, and Chelsea have a glimmer of hope. Chelsea 1, Nottingham Forest 3.
I mean, the referee stayed on Nottingham Forest's 8-yard box line. We'll see. I mean, it seems like it might, I mean, I'm not sure. There was some discussion with the linesman. It was a really good first save from Matt Sells, absolutely exceptional. His reaction was absolutely brilliant. The first one, I mean, it's so tight. It really is tight. I'm not going to make a call because we made a call before. It looked like it was offside when Nottingham Forest scored their third, and it was given.